Alrighty, guys. You guys already know. We're here with Chris. We got Marcus, Comfort Cartoons, great YouTube channel. And we got Riff, and we got Ricky, and myself. We're here just having a good time so far. You know, we're just sitting down. Yeah. Just wanted to, you know, kind of explain yourself a little bit about who you are and kind of like what got you into the cartoon sphere.
Tell them about your channel and stuff too, so they know who you are.
Yeah, so I pretty much got started on YouTube. Yeah, if you want to go back to YouTube, I mean, I've been on here pretty much as long as I can remember. As far as like my whole adult life, I've been on YouTube. But as far as getting into like the retro scene, maybe like 4 years now, I've been really diving into it, and it's just been fantastic. Just the community here is just incredible.
So my question to you, I know back in the day when you were doing YouTube, you were doing like, which we just found out at dinner before this, you were doing like sword stuff, and dude, you look like a ninja, dude. You were going wild slicing stuff to doing, in my opinion, almost what seems like the polar opposite, like literally kiddie SpongeBob cartoon stuff. What was the...
That's always been like the duality of like my personality, is like I'm just all the way here, all the way there, and like I've always been into both of them, but like I have just both those passions, and I've always wanted to dive into one of them, but just one of them had to be, I guess, took off better on YouTube, so therefore I kind of stuck with that for a bit.
And that was the weapons?
Yeah, I'm still into that. Like, I'm still obsessed with, like, every day I'm out there throwing knives. I'm out there, I'm watching YouTube videos on like gun reviews and all types of stuff. But like people that watch my other channel would be like, oh, what?
It's two like, polar opposites.
Yeah, and I think when I first started the Comfort Cartoons, I kind of tried to make it like it was kind of being myself a little bit, like not being myself in the sense of like kind of being a little bit more vulgar, you know. But I realized the substance of what I was talking about. There was a lot more kids watching. So I became a lot more like conscious about it. Like, okay, like in the other channel, most kids, there are some, but I mean, most people were adults looking up like, you know, katana videos and knife throwing tutorials, stuff like that. But when I knew kids were watching and parents, I started being like, okay, just for them, I'm going to try to be, you know, a little bit more, you know, suit and tied, a little bit cleaner.
Did you try to like ever bridge the two and be like, can I cut off SpongeBob's head in one slice, like with a...
Oh, sword? Yeah. Okay.
I mean, dude, one of my favorite like things is like Cake Quarter, he'll cut up Luigi in one of his shorts. One of my favorite things. You should maybe do it for SpongeBob, brother.
I mean, I've thought about turning a spatula, like getting like the highest, because they're actually a company that makes like really, really good weapons. I've like boasted about them all the time on my channel. It's called Cold Steel, and they just make some really solid weapons. And they had at one point they released a spatula,
so SpongeBob,
and it was like a legitimate like freaking combat ready spatula. Like I'm talking just like using it as a knife and flipping it. And I've been trying to find that spatula for like 5 years, and like it completely. It had one release, and then they stopped selling it, and I've not seen one person list it, but I've been looking for it for years because I thought that would be a great video, like the Ninja SpongeBob routine.
That'd be absolutely. I think everyone in this group would love to join you in with some weaponry.
Yeah. What kind of polarized you towards like the weaponry side of things?
Oh man, dude, like honestly, like the whole YouTube journey, like I feel really lucky in the sense of like being able to do that channel and then doing Comfort Cartoons. Like, man, I've been able to like accomplish everything I wanted to as like my 11-year-old self. Like that came from me being like 11. Like, dude, who didn't want to get like a sword and pretend they're like a Power Ranger or a Ninja Turtle and go slicing stuff up, you know, and what
if you had to delete one channel? Which one would you pick? The cartoon one or the weapon one? Ooh. If you had to, right now. Have to delete one.
Somebody would be mad either way, but no matter what.
I want to know what Marcus thinks, not what the internet would think.
I would say at this moment in my life, I find more fulfillment doing the... I'm like getting nervous because I'm like, I know there's somebody who's like, dude, why did you... I can't believe you said that.
You don't want to piss off the weapon people.
Let's go with the Comfort Cartoons. No, I would say I find a lot... I can see myself... You know, I can't be like, you know, freaking 60 years old out here, you know, swinging katana. Maybe, but it gets a little harder. But
well, what's weirder, being a 60-year-old swinging katanas or being a 60-year-old talking about SpongeBob?
I mean, I could ask you know, the guy who's in video games still too. I think being into video games, I think you're like a nerd for life, right? So like if you're into video games, I'm sure you're going to be into it when you're like 60, 70, you're still going to be, you know, collecting the same stuff, talking about...
I'm 40 now.
All of us almost did.
You're going to still be talking about Pokemon.
Yeah, hold that one to yourself over there.
Know, I think that's going to become more okay as we get older, right? Like I'm sure like art, like what we look as adults now, like old people, we think like, oh yeah, they're into like knitting and like the most generic old people stuff. But I think people closer to this generation, it's going to be like, oh yeah, he's into SpongeBob, he's into Pokemon, like, you know, they're into like geeky stuff because that's kind of the culture we grew up in.
Yeah. We're at the peak of, you know, gaming started 70s, 60s, late, you know, 80s. So all those people are now our age range. So I think we're the first like generation of people to come through where the oldies are where grew up on video games.
Yeah.
So it's just part of our culture.
Do you guys have like a cartoon that you grew up, like very first cartoon that you guys got into that you watched and you really enjoyed, like kind of got you into that niche of watching shows?
Very first, it's interesting thing. What was your the other day? It's so weird. The other day I remembered like I had a childhood moment where I remembered the first piece of like media that I consumed, and it was Sesame Street, and I remember it was Oscar the Grouch specifically. But if I had to think what would be my first cartoon I ever watched, it was probably the Flintstones. Not that I was even, you know, that was before my time, but I just think it's one of the first cartoons I started.
I was like,
watching.
Curtis is gonna say that dates you a lot because he said that.
That's like Flintstones was what, 50?
Bro, but like our audience is like around their age, so like they all kind of grew up.
It's like, oh, Felix the cat, and like,
like me and you are different.
My thing.
Are you guys talking bad about Felix the cat?
I mean, he's great, but
he's older.
He's got great wall clocks.
I feel like for me it was Looney Tunes. I remember as a kid just always seeing like Bugs Bunny on, which unfortunately is not as popular anymore.
Oh yeah,
you know. But back then, that's probably my earliest memory is like Bugs.
I loved Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, Elmer Fudd, Bugs, and all that stuff. But I do remember like Flintstones early on.
Yeah,
I have memories of that.
Tom and Jerry, bro. That was where it was at for me.
Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's an old one too. That's like a 60s cartoon.
I think the Looney Tunes kind of transcended too, because I don't know for Curtis, but like for me, like the Space Jam, like Space Jam was like I feel like that's where I really learned about the Looney Tunes. Like then when I saw Looney Tunes on, I was like, oh, those are the people from Space Jam. You know, that's like where I knew them from.
I actually grew up watching Tiny Toons.
Yeah, that too.
Great show.
Yeah, my dad actually was like super into like Looney Tunes, and he had a from his softball team, for some reason they called him Taz, and that was like one of his very first tattoos that he had. And now that he thinks about it now, he got it covered up and everything, but he didn't like it now, but he loved it back then when he was called Taz.
Dude, I'm gonna call him Taz next time I see him.
No way, dude. But I think one of the first shows that I fell in love with was Ed, and Eddie. I don't know if anybody ever watched
Oh,
that.
heck
I remember that.
Dude,
absolutely.
That one had, dude, that would be like the typical show that like you guys would enjoy, with like the typical stereotypes. You had Rolf, the guy who had the goats, and then you had like the poor white.
Why are you saying
kids.
we like stereotypes?
Bro, because we love them, bro. What about a poo? Simpsons. What are you talking about?
Bring back a poo.
Bring back a poo. Like, for real. How about you, Ricky, man? What do you remember?
For me, it'd probably have to be the like the Mickey Mouse stuff,
Oh yeah,
like the Mickey classics, and then I was really into Heathcliff.
Heathcliff.
Do you remember
was
Heathcliff?
good.
The not
I
Garfield.
remember Heathcliff.
I was like, oh, I love
Heathcliff, no one could, something like
Terrorize
that.
the neighborhood.
Dude, I would never remember that song for $1 million unless you brought this up just now.
I thought he was just a newspaper cat.
Dude, he was like a
No.
troublemaker. He beat up all the other cats. He was like the main
I
dude.
thought he was Garfield
He's
for like a
low-key
few
cooler than
years.
Garfield.
Yeah.
Garfield was just like
I
Curtis.
think I
just
did
like
like him better than Garfield. Yeah, he was
Lazy,
a little
orange,
better.
and fat. That's me right there. wait, we're talking about orange and fat here. But also, like, before you kind of got into comfort cartoons, did you think that like you would be collecting as much when you got into it?
Oh man, no. I think everybody that collects, it starts off with like one or two things, and then you're just like, oh well, I can make a room on this shelf, and then it becomes like a full blown addiction. You're like, okay, well, like I'm sure there's room above this roof somewhere. You know, like where can I put more and more stuff? And like I love it. You know.
What's your biggest item that you collect for? Is it SpongeBob?
I think because you're asking about like my cartoon that I connected with. I think that's the show that like I can really. Like I'd say made the biggest impression on my life was SpongeBob. Like I think it sculpted who I am, like my sense of humor, a lot of stuff like that. And like I wouldn't be who I am almost without that show because I've just spent so much time watching it. So I'd say SpongeBob is the one that I collect the most. But that's also because like if you're talking about Nickelodeon stuff, like 90% of it is SpongeBob or Dora, you know? So it's going to be they're the merchandise king. So if you're collecting SpongeBob, you can't avoid it.
Who's your favorite character in SpongeBob?
SpongeBob.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think a better question for me would be like a side character.
Okay, besides SpongeBob,
Yeah,
who's your
there you
favorite
go.
character?
I would go with the Flying Dutchman.
Nice.
Fine, that's just
Yeah, I think he's just sick. You know, he's got the pirate kind of aesthetic to him. He's kind of spooky, and I think that's what like I like about Nickelodeon as a whole is like it wasn't so cookie cutter like Disney in some ways. Like I love Disney too, but like they always had these kids with like these perfect lives. They have these great parents, everything. You know, but then you had Arnold on like Nickelodeon who's like living in this freaking
Sick.
crazy house with this crazy grandma. You had like more relatable characters, and I think SpongeBob being so detached, you know, that helps
Mr.
with
Krabs personally is my favorite.
Mr. Krabs.
Mr.
I like
Money.
Mr. Krabs.
He's just
Mr.
great.
Krabs. Everybody
I
Mr.
like
Krabs.
all those characters. I even like Gary.
money-driven freaks.
Gary the snail. I love Gary. I know.
He's great.
When were you? How old are you, if you mind me
I
asking?
just turned 30.
Just turned 30. Okay. And you're so same age as you
Yeah,
guys are the
30.
same age, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have any affiliation towards like 80s cartoons, or because you didn't grow up with them, like there's not like He-Man, G.I. Joes, any of that?
I
Or
think
did
that like 80s culture is so powerful that like you had to have like been a part of it in some way.
Type of, some type of
like the
thing.
horror movies, Gremlins, you know, Ninja Turtles, like that's just like I think that the 80s generation held it down like crazy, you know, like everybody it's everywhere.
I feel like 80s was such a good like launching point for what is now like nerd culture and like pop culture. Like mid 80s, we got so many like majorly iconic IPs in the 80s that are still like being solidly held to this day, and like some of the biggest like recreations of things that people keep bringing back. I feel like so much of it spawned from like that Back to the Future vibe.
I think it's just the era of time it was in too. I think it was a simpler time. You didn't have like cell phones and all that stuff. You know, we can go on about that for a long time, but like the 80s and 90s, that culture is just kind of still going now. That's why we're rebooting everything, making the same things over and over again, because there's like nothing as like rich as the culture from that time period. Like I try my best to hold down like the 2000s, you know, because I've noticed like, you know, growing up, like the people that were in the 80s and the 90s, they've done such a good job keeping that alive. And I feel like for the 2000s generation, like there's not really a lot of people that really advocate for it or like what was big at that time. So I try my best to kind of represent the 2000s as much as I can.
Good, keep it going. Do you know Jordan Fringe, that YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, I'm friends with Jordan.
Yeah, we've known him for a long time too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he used to be in our videos way back in the day.
Oh really?
Yeah, way before he was doing his cartoon stuff. Way
Heck
back
yeah.
in the day.
Yeah, I knew him when he was like, I was like a lot closer when he was doing his Pokemon stuff.
Yeah,
Mostly.
he was into Pokemon too. The Wait, Remember.
I was on
series.
his podcast. Yeah,
You were?
yeah.
Oh, right on. Very cool. You haven't talked to him in a minute, but talked to him maybe like a year ago. But
Gotcha.
yeah, he does good cartoon stuff as well.
Fantastic.
Do you have like a certain goal in mind when it comes to all of your channels, but relatively towards comfort cartoons and stuff like that?
You know, like when I really like, I think my first channel, it was just like, let's get to 1 million subscribers. You know, it was like, that was the goal. Like that was the dream. Like, how is that even possible? You see all these YouTubers unboxing their giant play button. Like I grew up, like, that's what I always wanted to be. Like every kid has their dream. Like I want to be like a fireman or a police officer or whatever. Like I wanted to be a YouTuber, like the whole time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be this. And then I got that channel to that point. And now with Comfort Cartoons, literally I started that channel just as like a way to vent and get my interest out,
Like a passion project.
a passion project, exactly. Nice. And like the fact that it's even grown to this scale, I had no clue that was even going to be a thing. So I wouldn't even say I have a goal. I'm just like, I'm grateful to do it, you know.
Enjoying it.
So with the weapons channel that you had, you got that to 1 million subscribers?
1.7 million.
Wow, you have 1.7. What's
Yeah.
the name of that channel?
ADHD's World.
ADHD's World.
Yep.
And how much does Comfort Cartoons have?
200,000 almost.
200.
Yeah.
Dang, you got it to 1.7. And you still actively make those videos?
I haven't made a video up there in like 6-7 months. You know, like I think that's what I said. Like that's what talking about like my goal. I wouldn't say that I got to that goal, but I got to the point where like I had achieved a lot of what I wanted to achieve there. And I felt unfulfilled in my life of like doing the stuff that I'm also really passionate about. Like I got very niched in of like, oh, okay, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. But I'm also a nerd, you know, I'm also like a geek, and like I felt like I had to be like this edgelord, like, you know, I have to be like on the top of my, you know, just intense all the time, just throwing things, breaking things. And I was like, you know, let's just start like a laid back channel where I'm just like unboxing stuff, because like I was doing that stuff, you know, blowing stuff up, shooting things, doing all this crazy stuff. But when I got off the camera and I went in my room, I was watching Nickelodeon collection videos, you know, watching people doing gaming videos, and that was like a part of me that I feel like wasn't getting out there. So I was like, you know what, with this time that like I've been able to get myself in a decent enough financial position to start focusing on this too, you know, and see if I can make something with that, and, you know, just for fun, and kind of rolled into something bigger.
I can relate to that because I had started a coffee company at one point, and I was having a difficult time being like a coffee guy, which is very different than a video game store owner guy, and like having to wear like different hats. And like I'd be like, okay, now I'm gonna not be video game store owner guy. I'm gonna go be like coffee barista guy, and it was like different dress and like different like the way you look and everything. And then I was like, I need to chouse one of these. I can only be one.
Crystal the Baristo. I like it.
Coffee cartoons. You guys can buy brands.
Now, monetarily though, like wouldn't 1.7 million subscribers, wouldn't you make a lot more money like putting videos out on that
That's
channel?
what everybody tells me. That's what everybody tells me. Like people in the comments, like, oh, why would you stop doing that to do this thing that you're making less money? But I mean, like I did well enough, and I'm still gonna do some of those videos as well too. But like, I had to get to a point where it's like, okay, am I going to be doing what I'm doing for money, or am I doing it for fulfillment? You know what I mean? Like you only have one life, and it's like, it's not about who dies with the biggest pockets, right? So like I want to do something that like I enjoy.
Me and Chris both looked at each other like,
You're like, wait a second.
me and Chris both paused and like, we said Mr. Krabs. Wasn't it obvious? Get this guy off the show.
Like for me, like I'm doing all right. I don't have like some like crazy luxurious lifestyle. I'm just like, I drive a basic car. I wear basic clothes. I spend all my money that I like, extra like luxurious purchase collecting.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my thing. So I don't have like these crazy needs, and the fact that covers it, and I enjoy it a lot. I just, I'm gonna do both, but I'm good doing that one.
In all reality, I actually agree with
Yes,
that.
of course.
You know what I mean? Like I like making money and I like working hard, but there is the fulfillment part of doing something that you love that is really priceless, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Once you find that and you're doing that.
And if you get rich doing what you love, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
It's not to say that I didn't love what I was doing there, but it's like, I think because I have ADHD, I'm like, I have so many versions of myself that like I have to scratch all these different itches of like things that I want to do. I have four channels for a reason, because literally I'm like, oh, I kind of want to do this. Oh, I kind of want to do that. And like,
exactly where I'm at too, man. I know exactly how it feels where you're spread out so many ways, but you're like, I want to be passionate about this, but this is also cool, right?
Yes, exactly.
ADHD is a problem, but it's also can be kind of like a superpower in a way. I
say it's a superpower.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like you have it when you're just doing a million different things. And you have to try to learn to control it. And we probably, if you have it, you're always like, how do I get my,
and if you love
focus. If
you're fixated on it, like you're unstoppable.
If you can focus on it, you are unstoppable. Because I will go ridiculously hard, and I'm sure you will, and whoever else has ADHD knows.
That's the same thing. Like I have friends that are like, oh, like you're telling me you're waking up, you're working till like 3 a.m. and then you're waking up to go to the flea market at 4 a.m. and you're going to be filming it. Like, do you ever just turn it off? And I'm like, no, I guess. Yeah. And they're like, well, like, aren't you tired? I'm like, it doesn't feel like
if anything,
work.
It fuels me to do it.
Yeah, like none of this feels like work, because I'm just like, I'm so like fueled by like the energy of doing it. But when I was doing just one thing niche, I did feel drained. So I was like, okay, let me just kind of get refreshed, get something. I think it's resurrected my love for YouTube a lot more than it was when I was technically getting 500, 1,000 video views. I was, growing thousands of subscribers a week. I felt less passionate about like YouTube at that point than I do now with a smaller channel.
I get it.
Nice.
Do you now find like almost calming to be able to go to like flea markets and it's just like there's no stress and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like filming it is like definitely like been a fun process, but it's also a little like you guys make it look easy, like it's a little stressful, because you're trying to like capture everything at the same time, make sure the shots are good.
It's funny you say that.
Not lose out on deals. You gotta find it.
I have a video coming out this Thursday, which this will go out after that video, where I literally talk about that, where I'm like, I need to like hire a cameraman. Like I'm so tired of like living through the lens while I'm filming. I just like the old days we used to just have someone film us and I just did my thing and we did our thing. I don't like to have to be like, did I get this right shot? Did I do that? Did I do this? So we'll see.
So yeah, it's like doing that, like you just get so fixated on the camera that like, I don't know if you guys have this issue, but for me, like, because I do film 3 to 4 videos a week, I feel like I pretty much never turned it off. So like basically doing those flea market days, like hanging out with you guys at the flea market, that was like one of the only days I turned it off. Like I'm just like, oh, okay, I am not on camera. Yeah. So now filming it is cool, but at the same time, it's like I've been doing it every other weekend, so I can kind of still have that break, because the YouTuber in me is still like, oh man, I wish I was filming right now because this is like sick. Yeah. You know, and I love sharing it with people, and that, like, I don't know, it's like a back and forth, right? Yep. Like,
I get it.
So you hunt at the same flea market we hunt at, which is Golden West. Yep. How long have you been hunting there? I know.
There's still people in the comments asking. So
out of the bag.
Can we just bleep that like he just cussed like terribly?
Yeah, bleep that. Cut that. Yeah. But so you are at the same flea market. How long have you been going there?
I've been going there for like, I don't know. I've seen like you guys there for a long time before we started talking. Like maybe like a year. Like I'd seen Chris at the Cypress one, I think.
Okay.
And like I saw him, we were like looking at the DVDs, and you looked like zoned in, like you were locked in. So I was like, I'm just gonna stay out of his way. So I just like went around, and I was like, okay. And I didn't know that you knew these guys yet.
Gotcha.
And then I'd seen them with like the camera one day, and like I remember just like I didn't know exactly. I knew, like I told you, I watched a couple of your videos, but I didn't know that was you yet.
Got it. Yep.
So like I had seen you filming, and I was like, I'm just gonna try to stay out of the background, because I'm sure there's a chance that somebody's gonna say like, oh, I see so and so in the background, and then I don't want to make it like some weird thing, you know?
Oh, it's weird.
And then it happened, and then that literally happened, and then
no, that's great. Yeah, I put two and two together because I've seen you in my thumbnails a bunch of times, and I was like, oh, I think that's that dude, Comfort Cartoons, where I like his thumbnails. That's all I thought in my head.
Oh, thank you.
And then went over and talked to you, and I was like, oh yeah, he's a cool guy. Now, regardless of what Curtis says.
Curious, did you know about going to Golden West because of watching content that was there, or did you just know it was a good place to go?
No, I think like it's kind of famous in this area at this point. Yeah, I was going to Cypress.
These guys are name dropping all the names.
Dude, people always ask me in the comments section. I'm just like, what do I lie? I just put what it is, you know? So like I started going to those ones, and just people were like, oh yeah, you should go to this one. You should go to this one if you like games and stuff like that. And then I was like, yeah, this one kind of is the best one.
Yep.
Yeah. What's the rarest or priciest thing in your collection?
Man, I don't know. It's actually something that might have just recently changed. There's actually 2 items I'm working on that, like, I don't know if I should talk about them, but maybe I will. There's like
that chair you got from Curtis, isn't it?
The chair I got from Curtis is a really nice one. But recently I got a Paul Tibbet card that's it's like the biggest card, the rarest SpongeBob card you could possibly have. Oh, man. It's a sketch card done by Paul Tibbet. And he does a lot of artwork, but trading cards are so sought after that the fact that it's in a licensed trading card game essentially, or not a game, but a collectible card game.
Yeah.
He did these sketch cards, and it was like a very particular circumstance where you had to have these packs, which just the booster packs for these are like, $50, $60, but the box is like $900.
Yeah.
So they're super pricey, but you had to get the packs that have his sketch card in it. Was like a 1 out of 100 of packs you could only get at Target. So it's like this really niche card, and there's only a couple of them out there that even exist, and I got 2 of them.
Wow.
Ooh. And I got one of them sent off to PSA, and as of right now, or when I recorded the video, it's the only PSA 10 in the world.
Wow.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so that one, a PSA, I think 7 sold for around 2,000, and 7, if you know cards, the difference between a 7 and a 10 is massive.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the value on that is, but I think the craziest thing in the collection, because I've had the most offers for it, is the Nickelodeon sign. I get every week almost, there's somebody reaches out to me
what do you think it's worth?
I've had offers as high as 20,000. Yeah.
What is it? It's
a giant Nickelodeon sign inside of my
original one?
Yeah.
Where was it originally?
It was in the Nickelodeon store. It was out the outside of the store in I think New Hampshire or something like that. New Jersey. Yeah, it was on the building.
Close to you back in the day, dude.
What's that?
That was close to you back in the day.
It was. Yeah, from New Hampshire, and it made its way all the way out here.
I had to get it brought on a truck all the way here.
You bought it from New Hampshire and had it brought here.
I have the video on my channel. It's I think it's maybe the first video, one of the first videos on Comfort Cartoons is me I had already built that room and stuff because I was just collecting. And I was like, okay, let's start doing this. And I think one of the earliest video on there is me getting that sign and showing that footage. I had the footage, dude. I was literally this sign's massive. It's 8 feet long, maybe 5.5 feet tall, and weighs 300 pounds. It's all metal.
Dang.
One solid piece?
One solid piece of metal.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. And it lights up and everything?
No, it doesn't light up. I added my own LEDs just because it looks sick, you know.
Smart, dude.
But I had this, so this is just how like committed as a collector I was, and the person I was in a relationship with, you know, I'm not with them anymore. Maybe this is why, but this sign was in a wooden pallet behind my couch in my old house.
Yeah,
like just sitting there for about a year because I didn't have the right place to put it up, like in the building, you know, I was in.
Yeah.
So once I moved, I finally had a chance to hang it up. So I made like a whole video out of like it finally getting out of its wooden casing over a year of like trying to get it situated and got it put up on the wall. And then, you know, that's been like kind of like the mascot of my channel is that sign.
Jeez,
awesome. 20.
Dang.
I'm pulling up something that we've been wanting. I mean, Marcus is going to be a guest at SoCal, but we're also doing something else with SoCal. We're doing what, Chris?
SoCalRetroGamingExpo.com, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Get your tickets now. Okay, Chris?
What are we doing right now?
Yeah, we're going to be doing
we're gonna do a giveaway.
he looks so shocked. He's just looking up. He's like, what? All right, explain. Can we explain to the audience?
So we had people, the true G's in the world, bought VIP tickets to SoCal. There's many things that it gives you, but one of the things we want to do is give away 3 special edition SoCal Gaming Expo skateboards. Sure. We're going to give away 2, though, right now. You're going to pick them up at SoCal. So we have a little dial right here that's going to have a fun little race. Everybody's name who bought VIP tickets gets thrown in this. And
okay, do special guests get a chance?
Sure, your name's in there.
Yeah. So, and this design here is designed by Tom Ryan. So this is the T-shirt design. It is an homage to Skate or Die.
Show it on
course,
camera 1.
Huh?
I'm showing you.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah, so all you need to do is put on, what do you call them, trunks or trucks? Trucks.
Wheels, bearings, grip tape.
You can put on trunks too. Why not?
Hey, I like trunks.
We're close.
DBZ.
So you need trucks. And
Wear whatever you want.
And what do you need? A grip on the front?
Grip tape.
Grip tape. So you need grip
But
tape.
good news,
Pause.
OC Ramps will be there at SoCal Gaming Expo, and you can get it all dialed up there.
And then you can do what?
Ooh.
Flip kicks, right?
Kick flips.
Brother. All right, so we're drawing 2. You guys.
Yeah,
kick
2
flip.
people.
What if the same person won twice in this? That'd be crazy.
All right, so this is only, so you are eligible to win this if you bought our VIP ticket. If you bought more than one of those, say you bought 2 or 3, you are in there 2 or 3 times.
Nice.
Oh, dang.
Yep. So I believe there is,
And you just pick them up at the expo.
yes, I think there's like 150 of these right now. So 2 of you lucky VIP holders right now. Yes, pick up at the expo.
Getting it for free.
For free, yeah.
Pick up at the
All right.
expo.
Yep.
Guys, you guys
All right.
ready? You guys are
Let's see
ready?
it.
Run
I wish
it.
I had
Let's
a drum
go.
roll.
Dibs if they don't pick
All
up.
right, it's set.
Let's
Oh.
go.
Look at that.
How do I
DEI
start it?
crowd
Oh,
right there.
literally.
Because it's hypothetically you.
I think you click start right there. Yep.
Bro, look at all these heads right here, dude.
This is a Phineas and
Yeah, I know.
Ferb,
I'm
like Ferb back
ready?
there.
3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go. I like that we can only reach
My
here
money's
for
on the
reading.
green hair guy right there. Look at him. He's a
There's a
freaking
lot of
champ.
people in there.
He's
I'm
going.
for
Oh.
Okay, I see
There's
the
always
system.
one at the end, though, that comes flying up.
Dang, dude, who's gonna win? Oh, really?
She's going to tire out
owns it.
quick. She's going to dig her.
Jim Petticord. All right, that's the first winner. Is Jim?
Jim
Get your, and by the way, you
Petticord.
just picked this up at SoCal.
Hold on, let me take a picture of that.
He didn't look like a Jim.
I'll do it right now. I got it. We're good. I got it. We're good.
Okay, take a picture. Jim Petticord.
All right, and then I say remove winner from race, right? Right here.
You could either run it
She's
back
doing
or
her
pick,
victory
you
lap.
could pick a different one if you want to go back and pick like something else.
Pick a different one. It's so exciting.
All right,
Yeah.
you
Go-
guys just
go
made it
back.
harder
Oh,
for me.
never mind. Don't. He's
Just
struggling
do
over
another.
here.
You can do the same one. It's
All
fine.
right, let me
Curtis.
go back to the page, dude. All right, hold up. Back to the page.
So Marcus, Nickelodeon, huh?
All right,
It's
run
No,
it
we're not
again.
doing it. We're racing it again,
he's
dude.
racing it.
All right, run it again.
Yeah, we're
There we
back.
go.
We're
This
back.
is the
Ready?
second winner.
We're started. It's going.
All right.
Dude, number 38, she's gonna win, I can tell.
Oh, yeah?
She's gonna burn out, though.
Ooh, Tomar's going.
Wait. Rip is here. No. Those are short shorts. I see them.
Oh no! Here comes Brandon.
Oh my God.
Brandon's pulling ahead. Angel
me too.
Tovar.
Oh, man.
Angel Tovar.
Let's go.
Congratulations. You guys can pick it up.
Also doesn't
at
look
the
like a
show.
Miguel.
Yo, that's
We'll also send you guys an email
Are
if
these
you
sex
just
accurate?
want.
Well, so yeah, pick up your boards at SoCal. SoCal Retro Gaming Expo.com. It's going to be the best convention you've probably ever been to in your life. I'll say the majority of people have told us that.
If you don't pick it up, apparently it goes to the special guest.
Yeah. Pick them up, we'll officially give it to Marcus. So.
All right.
You don't want that, right?
All right, we're going to move on to agree or disagree. Now, the way this works is like, you know, I'm going to say a statement. You're going to either agree with it or disagree, and then you got to defend it. All right?
You get it?
Okay. Yeah.
Simple.
Thumbs up, thumbs
When was the
down.
last time we did one of these?
It's been a while. That's why I ripped brought it back.
I know Curtis sent me the list, and I was like, Curtis, I think we need to do an agree or disagree. It's been a while since we've done this, so
You know.
we put up a lot of different topics and questions and segments, and don't be scared, bro.
Maybe.
Just start off hot off the rip. No, I'm just kidding. We'll go.
Do it. I don't care.
All right.
Just asking like super political. We're just like, oh, okay, sweating over here, but
All right. People who bring items to conventions but aren't willing to sell them are weird.
Thumbs up.
Agree or disagree?
Bring items
Are you
To a
talking
convention.
like a vendor or just like a person that brings
So they
stuff?
bring it to the convention
Vendor.
and then they don't sell it. So
oh,
like
a vendor.
Oh,
Okay.
vendors.
Yeah.
Vendors too?
Vendors too. Yeah. Everything.
I disagree.
Disagree.
All right. I want to hear the defense.
Do you not know that I said Mr. Krabs is my favorite character? If you can make money, make money. That's my stance on it.
I mean, that's fair.
If you have it, it's in your store. I think it should be purchasable. If Retro Rick, I went to a store and said I give him $50K for the
I
whole.
disagreed.
Okay, I was
They
gonna
all
say.
disagreed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you know, having a store. You have people that are probably like, "Oh, can I buy this fixture of your store?" And you're like, "Well, no." You know,
Chris,
maybe
now
enough
me
money.
personally,
What if I offered you $50,000 for that night sign?
well, I do not bring anything to a convention that I am not going to sell, actually. Because if it's going to go in a truck for me, yeah, I'm like, we're going to sell it for there. But I guess I could understand why people would bring it, I guess, because it's kind of like you want to kind of show
I guess
off.
let me explain before we go on and I get berated in the comments and call me a greedy bastard, which I am.
Greedy.
I don't like flex selling. That's the word. I don't like when it's like, oh, no, it's not for sale. And it's like, oh, cool. How come you brought it? I don't know. I just want everyone to see it. I'm like, that's cool, I guess. But it feels like a flex to me at a certain point. I get it. Pickup videos get accused of being flex videos. Like, look what I bought. Look what I can buy. I'm in the mindset if you're a seller and you bring it, you know, I think of, you know, all the ballers in the world, like the Golden Touch and all those guys. Like, bro, if you can make money, make money.
When you
bro.
said "look what I can buy," it reminded me of Stu. Like, look what I can buy.
Matt TV? Yeah. Ricky, go ahead. You're a hoarder. You'll agree. You'll
All right,
disagree.
order. So I say no because let's say I go to a convention, I want my booth to pop out. So I would literally probably bring my big Marios, put them on top, make sure everyone can see
hey,
them
Ricky,
coming.
are those for sale?
For the right price, yeah.
Exactly. Then it would be for sale.
No,
See? That's what I'm saying.
I think that the question was like is within reason, right? Like if somebody just offers you like $100,000, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
well,
yeah.
yeah, it's like,
I
all
think
right.
like people bringing stuff to get people's attention is kind of normal. I would think.
Yeah,
you
but I
know?
would argue your inventory. Let's talk bad about people's shops. If your inventory should be good enough to warrant people go like, dang, that guy brings good stuff, right? And we'll equate it to Encore. When people list things and you're like, I hope that store gets shut down. Like, why would they list a loose copy of Nerf on the Wii?
No,
What is that like for veteran sellers? Maybe somebody who's just getting into
I don't
it,
know.
you know?
Have you ever seen somebody sell like a Xbox 360 paper? That's not relative to anything but a console.
There
insert?
was someone on Encore who listed an item, the paper insert for the Xbox Connect.
It's instruction manual. Instruction manual.
Stop it.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, man.
No, bro. I've seen some crazier ones. Someone just sold empty cases with no cover art.
Does somebody buy it?
No, but I'm saying like the like you know that obviously is just kind of garbage.
I already know I'm gonna get ripped in the comments for this one. Oh well, whatever it is. What it is.
I don't know. Ricky had the biggest wallet in his backyard, and he wouldn't even sell at a good price, man.
What wallet?
The Retro Rick
Retro
video.
Rick, man. Like you literally could have sold a lot of that stuff, man.
He can't take it with him. A lot of that stuff he can't take with him.
I
And you
offered.
can't take it with you when you die, Ricky.
I know my kids can sell it.
Hey,
They won't.
it's gonna end up
Why'd
in
you
this.
leave us all this stuff?
That's what normally happens. I don't want this now.
You're saying Rick was in your bed trying to pick your
Oh, yeah.
collection?
Oh, yeah, he was there.
Did you
He
didn't
wouldn't
sell
even
him
sell
anything?
the Tomy figures. He had the little Tomy
Ricky's
figures.
gonna get
in
so
there.
sad right now. Yeah, he sold Rick $450 worth of Pokemon cards. Rick texts us a week later. Hey, these are all fake.
Oh,
Dude, I got it
They're
from
all
Gold Guy.
fake.
They're all fake.
All fake.
Oh my
Well,
goodness.
here's the thing. Some of them I
sound
think
like
are
you
real.
knew.
No,
No, he had his Pokemon expert in there.
No, but when you put them in those glass things,
Yeah.
I've seen it where they actually do split.
I don't know.
Ah, man.
That's why on the comments they're like, you really shouldn't keep him in there.
Rick scammed him, bro.
Because when I saw that, I was like, man, you gave him a good deal. But now I'm like,
You screwed him over.
Hey, good. Come pick at my place. I'm gonna get you good.
Maybe it's better Rick didn't buy more from me.
Oh wait, Repo Ricky.
It just happened.
Dang, dude.
Nah, sorry, Curtis. That's still your name, though.
No, that one hurt, guys. I haven't put out this video yet, but I will put out a video. I pretty much got scammed on eBay by a Mega Man 5 screw.
Big time money.
That sucks.
Wait,
Did it come back yet?
save that for a video. You need to put that in a full video.
All right, then we'll edit that out. No, I'm just kidding.
No, leave it.
Leave it.
No one's coming, but he paid a lot of money.
That would be a good topic to talk
in
about.
its own.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. All right, we'll do the next statement. It is, dude, this is rough, bro.
Do it.
All right, collecting toys as an adult is cringe unless you're reselling them.
Well, he was angry. You see that weapon channel? Collecting it. Okay, wait, I need to hear that statement again. Obviously, I'm not making fun of you.
Collecting toys as an adult is cringe unless you're reselling them.
Okay, I'm going to argue this. Man, I'm going to get so much hate this whole thing. I'm going to go half because in good faith, I can say we are all pretty cringe. What we do is kind of, in a way, holds a level of cringe in the real world. Do I love it and will I die on a hill praising it? Absolutely. Till the day I die, I will love this. I'll do it today will I die. But doing what we do is in it. Okay, here's a good example. I have teenage kids. Prime example of what will tell you is cringe or not. Mm-hmm. My kids used to love telling people what I do. Now that they're in high school, they don't dare tell a soul what it is. They're like, Dad, do not tell them you do YouTube and do video games. Please, for the love of God.
I've wondered the same with my son. I have not heard him say, like, Dad owns video game stores. Dude, he might not even talk about it anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's not cool.
Gabe still says it, and one of his teachers was actually an old Retro Liberty fan. He's like, I love that channel. I was like, yeah.
Let's go. It's interesting, though, because when they were younger, they definitely were all about it. Like, that's rad. And now they're like, Dad, that's super cool. But please don't tell my friends. Like, I don't want them to know, like, you're like playing with toys.
But is that because like it's cringe or because they're teenagers?
But
teenagers think every parent's cringe. Like everything parents do is cringe.
You're spot on about it. It's cringe what they're doing with that Minecraft movie right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nuts. Did you see the Minecraft stuff? What they're doing? Did your son do it?
He said he was there. I asked him about that, and I was like, did people do that when you went and saw it? And he said some kids started to do it, but then they got kicked out or something.
Oh, dude, you should see my son's phone after.
Yeah, they were legit doing it.
Nuts.
Can we explain, like, kind of what we're talking about?
Flying.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody knows at this point. It's a big meme. Like, the Minecraft movie was just, everyone says it's a pretty mid movie, but it was already doing pretty well, but then it got huge because it became a TikTok thing. Like when they say chicken jockey, scream. When they say this, go nuts. And now it's just exploded into just young teenagers, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds want to go nuts at every scene. So my son went and he was showing us videos and asked Ricky saw it. I mean, it's just
it's
people
gnarly.
flying drones, screaming every 5 seconds, just having a wild event.
I mean, I kind of think it's cool. I mean, it sucks for the movie theaters. Of 100%. Course, they have to clean that up.
Yeah.
But I think we also, like, at one point, we all discussed that movie, and we all thought it was going to be a flop. I'm pretty impressed that, like...
No, I don't think we thought it would be a flop. We said the movie sucks, which has still been proven. Everyone's like, yeah, it sucks. Even
I don't think when we were rating it, I felt like, okay, that's probably going to come out. People are going to watch it and be like, this sucks. And then... in my opinion, I'm like, wow, that actually took off. It's gone huge.
Well, and they said now it's even spiking more because it's a trend
like,
now.
I don't think anybody predicted that. I don't think anybody.
No, nobody predicted
sure
it. And whether
it's pretty good,
whether it's a good movie or not, it's gone viral in the sense of like these kids obviously love Minecraft too. They love.
I think picking
Minecraft.
Jack Black though was the best. Even though everybody gave him a lot of problems for it because he didn't look like Steve, he's such a memeable guy.
Yep.
That like even with the Mario movie, like the Bowser thing was massive. Like the movie was fantastic. Yeah, sorry. The Bowser song was like, you know, him singing was pretty big too. So I think like him, if it would have been anybody else, I don't think it would have taken off the way it did.
I also think that like the way Jack Black handles himself when it becomes video games, he's very passionate.
Well, he was on Jablinski was his thing for a while, which was his gaming channel, which he doesn't do. But
I'm saying,
he really pours his heart into roles, and I haven't seen this movie. I want to go see it. Has anybody seen the Minecraft movie yet? No. I want to kind of go watch it.
Oh, Ben did.
Ben, you saw it? Was it good? Did you like it?
Yeah, I didn't really have any expectations going into it because I'm not a huge Minecraft fan, but for an average movie, I thought it was good. And I just seen it like a few days ago, so it was what, 10 days old from the theater, so there weren't any crazy kids, teenagers. Plus, it was 10 in the morning.
Yeah, that's what I told Ben. I'm like, Ben, you went in the morning when teenagers aren't out of school.
You went when old people go to the movie.
Dentures flying.
What's this Minecraft?
Wait, you never answered. You're the true one. Are you cringy that you collect toys and you're 30?
Oh man, I'm the king of cringe. I'm literally as cringy as it gets. So like but I think you're right. Like we're all kind of cringy. Maybe that's why we connect. I don't know, but it's like being a collector as an adult. I think it's more acceptable now than it was maybe like, 15, 20 years ago. Like I think that most people I know, like I feel like maybe I just have good friends and I've gotten lucky, but everybody's pretty cool with it. They're like, oh, that's awesome. Like literally I had like the other day, I had a guy come in there that's like, maybe a little younger than you. And he was doing my like electric fixing something. And he was like, my gosh, this is absolutely like marvelous. He started taking selfies in there. He was like taking pictures and videos.
Sending your address to his cousins.
He's like, when he's gone, we're going to go.
So what hours do you normally hear him go?
But that always happens. Like I've never had somebody come. I mean, maybe they're just being nice, but nobody's ever said like, wow, this is freaking lame, dude.
Yeah. I don't think anyone will ever come in and say it's lame. I think it might just be more like, I actually had it the other day. One of my neighbors that I talked to, her and her kids are always walking by every day, and I was on my run and I always say hi to them. And finally the other day she was like, oh, what do you do? And I like told her, and I could tell it was the most like, oh, right.
Here's what it comes down to.
Oh, okay. Like that's not cool.
Yeah.
That person like, oh,
I think what it comes down to is at the end of the day, life is too short to worry about being cringy.
100%.
Like who cares if you're cringe? You're always gonna be the hero or the villain to somebody.
Yep.
You're always gonna be cringe or not cringe.
Well, everyone's cringe towards something. We're cringy towards toys. We're cringy towards games. Think about guys, not to be mean, go and have fantasy football and pretend you own teams. That's cringy, and that you're towards that. That's what you're cringy for.
Dang, I do that too.
That's what you're.
Dang, that's cringy, dude.
Well, let's be real. I think that social media has allowed people across the world to cringe out together.
Find other cringe people.
Other cringe people in their specific niche, and it's just become acceptable.
It also made real cringy people, like real ones.
It sounds sappy, but like, just be who you are.
Yeah.
Like, be yourself. Be yourself.
I
and
also
be
feel like we're a different generation because of the cartoons we've grown up with that have action figures. Like our parents, at least my dad, I'm sure your dads too, like what did they grow up with for cartoons?
Sticks and rocks.
Yeah. What did they have for cartoons, really?
They have Flintstones.
I think that's what it was joking with the Flintstones thing.
Scooby-Doo. My mom used to be big into
My dad's a little older.
I think they were like into like Roy Rogers.
Batman, which is not like a
huge. You just hit on that. Roy Rogers, Mr. Ed.
Stuff like that. A lot of the like old Western style shows.
Oh yeah, and so you know what? A lot of those, like when I go to estate sales, what they have, which was their like action figures and stuff, you see a lot of train sets,
huge,
right? And you see a lot of like maybe like Western stuff.
Western was huge.
Western and like the little G.I. Joe guys 100%. And stuff like that, right? So, and a lot of those, the estate sales that you'll go to, you'll still see huge collections of this stuff, right? But it just wasn't as prevalent, I think, with collecting action figures and playing with action figures as like our generation was. So now we're growing up. So I don't think it's very cringe because, again, it's just our childhood. We all grew up with this stuff, right? But I do find it interesting, like as we get older, what our relationships will be with our kids, because like we've shared, I feel a lot of similar bonds. Like at least I have with my son, like watching certain shows and cartoons, and like it might not be so like that generation looking at you going, oh, that's cringe. What do you do? Like, that's weird. You know, it might not be so far apart.
Is that like the generation prior to that was so separate that we've just established this as a cringe thing.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's kind of just the norm. But like they stuck with what they're doing now. Like if you go to any like train station right now, there's like literally old men sitting there with like chairs just watching the trains come in.
Yep.
Because that's what
trains.
Like, that's their thing. You know, they're geeking out the same way we do, but like for trains. So it's like we're gonna be doing the same stuff.
Geeks for cowboy stuff, big time.
I honestly just call it like we're creating culture and keeping it alive. That's how I look at it.
I like it, Chris.
Perfect. All right, on to the next one.
Yeah, that feels good.
Going
we're
to
creating
be
culture. Let's go.
Creating culture, dude. And you're passing it down to the next. On to this next statement, we're gonna be Tuby is better than Disney Plus. Now, Tuby is better than Disney.
What is Tuby?
Isn't everything better than Disney Plus at this point?
What is that?
I know what Tuby is, but I don't think I've ever actually opened it up
the
before.
Timu
It's like
Disney?
free TV.
Free
I'm not
TV.
gonna lie. I recently started watching a lot of stuff through Tubi.
Okay.
They have a lot of different shows.
I haven't watched it.
I'll say if it comes to classics, like classic movies, I prefer Tubi. If it comes to cartoon classics, I prefer Disney Plus.
Yeah, because they got X-Men, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard because like I don't want to support streaming so heavily, but comparing it to Tubi, I guess I would say I think Disney Plus is better.
Are you still a guy that has cable?
No. Yeah, I that's the only thing is that people are always asking like, oh, do you watch Nickelodeon like right now? It's like, no, it's nostalgia. You know what I mean? Like I can't watch a lot of the stuff that's on right now.
Yeah,
you know?
What is the access to like Nickelodeon right now? Where do you find
Paramount
that?
Plus.
Paramount has it.
Yeah, I have
Does
Paramount.
Paramount own Nickelodeon?
Well, Viacom owns Paramount and Nickelodeon. So yeah, they put Nickelodeon on there.
Do you get it through Hulu?
I think no. I have like Hulu, Disney Plus, and HBO Max together.
I think Hulu has a add-on for Paramount Plus, which I was thinking about.
They might.
They have so many add-ons. I have like mine's like I said, like it's like which one are you excluding from my add-on? Essentially, I think Paramount I'm paying for separately.
So if you wanted to watch like the whole SpongeBob series, does Paramount have that?
Yep, you have all the Nickelodeon
they have
classics.
all of it, everything. Oh, I didn't know
I grew
that.
up watching SpongeBob, man.
I
The
did
only
have
one
a lot
that
of SpongeBob
matters.
stuff.
Yeah, the only one that matters is the Super Bowl song. That was one of my
With
favorites.
SpongeBob?
SpongeBob,
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, Sweet Victory.
Oh, sweet, sweet victory, yeah.
Heck
I
yeah.
remember that, dude. This is such a
That's like on everybody's top 3 favorite episodes for sure.
has to be
April
dude.
Fool's is one of my favorites.
April Fool's is
That
Dang.
and then obviously, and obviously the chocolate one is also another one.
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate. Yeah.
Weenie Hut Jr.
All right, we'll go on to the next one. It's going to be if you did not grow up with a console, your opinion on a console does not count.
So if you didn't grow up with it, your opinion on it doesn't count?
Yeah, and this is range between all consoles. So like if you were like had a console or didn't have a console like a PS2 or like that.
The one in discussion.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You cannot have an opinion.
I would agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
I
disagree.
disagree a little bit.
I'm going to
Yeah.
agree
Chris
with
and
that.
Marcus both agree.
Don't have
Don't
to be
put me on the
influenced by
spot.
me because I'm thinking about it. I had more time and I'm like, yeah, I guess like you know you could. Yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with agree.
No,
Shouldn't
I'm
be
gonna
so harsh
I
on
have
it.
to disagree.
Oh, now you have the odd man out.
I realized I had to disagree.
Defend
See,
yourself.
that's where I was at too.
So what
'cause,
makes
like,
you feel that way? To an
I
extent.
feel like nobody's ever gonna love something as much as like a kid with that nostalgia, that like pride about their console. So like you're obviously gonna be a little biased on loving something no matter what anybody has to say about it.
Yeah.
So if you like it because you grew up with it, I think it's a better argument, maybe a better situation is to say, don't expect other people to like it just as much.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Dr. Mario.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
For some reason,
so
Chris
good.
likes it.
God, it's so good.
No, I will say there is a difference between like there's guys I watch, like there's this channel I watch called Poger, and this guy's like super young, but he's like super intelligent with like the NES, right? But he clearly obviously didn't grow up, and I don't know how old he is. Maybe he is older, I don't know, but he looks super young. So in my brain, it's like, okay, obviously he's never going to have the same heart, like you said, towards it, but he still can have as much or even a more informed opinion than me because he's researched it to the extent that he knows more about it. But it does feel different, you're right, because it's like you didn't have the pure bliss of growing up with it without any I'm going to research it or try to go back on this classic. It's more just like, no, it was embodied into who.
And that's why I hesitated, because like I could see if you're, maybe like I go back and I watch some shows. Like right now I'm in this huge thing where I'm just like watching all the shows that I didn't watch growing up. So I could kind of see where people are coming from with those shows, because doing the, show on cartoons, I try to be as versed as I can and knowing what people are talking for. And I'm looking for stuff at the markets or whatever. And like some stuff I watch back and I'm like, I just can't get into this. But like people are like, oh, this is the best show.
So what's a super popular show? I guess this would be a fun question for everybody. That you feel like everybody has watched, but you're like, oh, I've never seen it. Do you have one like that?
I think Doug.
Okay.
Doug is like, it's one of the big three staples of Nickelodeon. That was the starting core, was Ren and Stimpy, Doug, and Rugrats. And everybody is like, you pick one of those three from old school Nickelodeon. I just never sat down and really just ran through Doug. Yeah.
I actually liked Doug a lot. Doug was good back in the day. Anyone else watch Doug?
Yeah, I like Doug.
Doug was great. He was good.
I have one that I didn't watch that everybody else did. Ed and Eddie. He said it.
I was going to say the same thing.
Never watched it.
It's fine.
I'm sure it's great. But
Even the monster one I never watched.
Oh, All Real Monsters?
Yeah.
I watched a little bit.
Oh,
of that.
All Real Monsters is such a good one.
Have you ever
One
watched
of my
like
favorite freaking cartoons?
All
I
Real
love
Monsters?
that. Yeah, that one is so good. We
That's
were watching
fantastic.
that recently because you got a VHS of it, and I was like, let's put this in. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this show is so
holds
good.
up.
It
Animation's
holds
great.
up. It really holds up. It is so good, and the voices are incredible in that.
And the artwork is just stunning.
God, that is a great show.
Yeah, I think the one that you probably haven't watched, Cat Dog. You guys ever watched that one?
Nope.
I did a little bit.
Yeah, I'm a big Cat Dog fan. Yeah, so you didn't watch that though at all growing up?
Oh, I did. Yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
Well, look already. What are we getting from here? One generation above, same generation.
Yeah,
that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, because I mean, I can say like I've never watched any He-Man.
Well, I was gonna, and I asked it earlier if you'd watched '80s shows, but being a '90s kids, you too, like, do you have a tough time going back and watching '80s cartoons?
I think that. Like, I wouldn't say like I have as hard of a time doing that as like maybe I would have when I was a kid. Like now I can watch it from, I guess, from that like more critical point of view of like I see some other kids grew up with this and I can see like how it was, you can connect with it. But like as a kid, no, I could not get into like any of the like 80s shows like Transformers.
The pace is so much slower on.
And maybe that's what's getting older. I've gotten a little bit more patient,
I felt like the 90s and early 2000s, I think a lot of animation studios took a little bit more risk, with like the content that they were creating. I mean, Ren and Snippy alone was pretty much a borderline pretty crazy. We talked about
that's why I got segued onto Spike, because it was such a...
SpongeBob took so many notes from Ren and Stimpy with animations to the zoom-ins, and it's like the crusty...
Well, that's because multiple of the creative directors on that show, like a lot of them worked on Ren and Stimpy too. So they took a lot of... I mean, I would say without Ren and Stimpy, it wouldn't be... That was like such a big show for the dynamics of Nickelodeon as a whole, like structured the core. I think if it would have been just Rugrats and Doug, we would have had a whole different network.
Oh, well, no, I think Cartoon Network would have took over by that time for that.
I'm a Fox Kids person. That's my number one.
Oh, yeah?
Fox Kids,
What about Beavis and Butthead? You a Beavis and Butthead fan?
Nah.
No?
Okay.
I love
Beavis and Butthead I can watch.
King of the Hill. I just haven't watched Beavis and Butthead. Not like not a fan.
Really?
I've just never really sat there and watched it.
I think if you go back, that one's pretty
so good.
It's pretty timeless. I think you could watch that one and actually enjoy it.
I just think there's something, it's like the Homer syndrome. Like there's something entertaining about watching people that are just so stupid. Like it just there's something captivating about watching someone make every wrong move.
Even SpongeBob is pretty. He's pretty dumb.
He's just happy. He's the happy version of dumb.
But he does really dumb things.
Why I love Patrick, bro.
Patrick is even dumber.
Yeah, lay around and just do what you want to do.
I love Patrick so much.
The award for doing absolutely nothing longer than anyone else.
That's why I love it. I want to be that. All right, we're gonna move on to a little bit more of like I guess kind of a spicier topic for us. Something that we pretty much don't lean on, right? Yeah, put it down. It's is reselling ruining the hobbies? And I'm saying
your guys' answer. The Mr. Krabs choices, huh?
Right off rip, dude.
Give me another question or something that like leads in. I mean, I feel like unless one of you guys has a rebuttal
to that.
Okay, so like maybe more of like that was more of like just like the statement, right? You could just say, is reselling made it harder for genuine collectors in the hobby?
Go ahead, Rick. You start.
I feel like I was going to say, like, for video games, I feel like it's not as bad because it's not as crazy. Like, there's not as crazy as like there's collectors, but they're not crazy collectors. Like, I feel bad for the Pokemon people because they're getting
That's what I was just going to say. Yeah.
Literally, the reselling thing is messing them up. For us, it's not as bad because there's only so many of us. Pokemon though is like a whole. It's like a global I
think what like kind of makes your choice is like, do you consider yourself more of a reseller or more of a collector?
I like that
because I think that's going to be your answer, right?
Yeah.
I think for me, I like to say I'm in the middle. I do sell a lot too.
Yeah.
But I also collect a lot, and I see both perspectives. As I think reselling, you cannot argue is like, in my opinion, you can't argue that like it's a part of it. You can't, it wouldn't be, people collect stuff because there is a little bit of that inherent value.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be picking up, garage fills of stuff that's worthless.
Yeah.
You don't want to be putting your money into something that at least will maintain its value, if not go up over time. So I think having a certain level of that is kind of necessary in the hobby to kind of keep that going.
Yep.
But at the same time, when it gets to the point where people are so greedy, it gets so egregious, to where people are having to pay, get priced out of the hobby essentially,
which is like Pokemon, what you guys are saying.
Where you can't even go to the store and pick it up because it's like $200-$300 for a box that just came out. Then it does kill the hobby because there's no next generation or people that are going to latch onto that because who the hell had it, who got to experience it. So I think that's where it kind of is in the middle.
I think you nailed it. In my opinion, it's a fine line, like the relationship between the resellers and the collectors, because there's no reselling if there's not collecting, right? And if everybody switches to just being a reseller too, that's when it like really the market dies out, in my opinion. A good example of that is probably like the Star Wars Episode 1 figures. Like nobody collected those. Everybody bought those to resell and thought that they were going to be worth money. And have you ever met an Episode 1 figure collector? Maybe there's been a couple of them.
$2.
They're still worth like $3 because everybody only bought those to resell. There was nobody that actually collected them. So the reselling can kill things.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a fine balance. Like in the Pokemon world, I think there's still a fair amount of collectors. Like people are collecting those cards. Hence, you have a lot of resellers, right, that are getting into that market because there's money to be made.
Yeah.
But if the collectors fall off, forget it. It all falls apart. So, yeah.
What would you say that it is within the market of like video games? Like if you're a person, are you like overbuying, right, is a thing? When you're out at a swap meet, do you think that has some, neglect to it?
Say that a question.
Like when you buy out like an entire thing, like a vendor, right? And there's a lot of inventory. Do you think that like that gets a lot of backlash?
There's always backlash. I feel like on YouTube, like when you buy big lots or buy out a booth, they're like, "Oh, save some for the rest." But 99% of those people weren't going to go to the swap meet and go look for it themselves.
They're not getting up at 4 a.m.
No.
They're
Getting
not
up at 4 a.m. They're
making
not,
the connections that are possible to.
Yeah, the connections is huge. A lot of people will say that and they'll go, well, that guy just held this stuff for you. And it's like, yeah, because after all of his years of doing this, he has learned, at least from his perspective, hey, I like working with that guy the best, right? He wouldn't do it.
It's easy.
He wouldn't do it for us or you. You have your people, you have your people. If we were the worst option, they're going to pick the option that they like best. So let's say if we'll use Dusty an example, even though he doesn't hold everything for us, sometimes he will go through those phases. Like, I bet Riff and those guys will pay me the most. I'm going to hold it for them. That's their decision to do that. So, and even us, if we did want to buy, a vendor we just met and buy the whole booth out because the deals were great, then we're still going to be doing the same thing they were doing. We're still going to resell it to someone else. Right? Or collect the pieces we want. Either way, that we're going to end up being resold.
In essence, you're offering a service to Dusty when you buy a big lot. Too. Dusty doesn't want to sit there and piece that stuff out to a collector, right? Like he'd have to have 100 collectors come to buy that stuff. So
it's two things. He wants to move it and he doesn't want to get screwed.
Right. Like ultimately when it ends up at a store like mine or on Encore or whatnot, like then it's going to end collectors, ideally, But yeah, so when you buy out a booth,
I feel like a lot of people's huge concerns is, do you think that like YouTubers are inflating nostalgia?
I would disagree.
Go ahead.
Go for it. Hey, all right, we're back to agree or disagree.
Go ahead. That's fine.
Yeah.
I think that if anything, influencers are bringing more people into those hobbies and making it more like, I think that if they're, as a kid who, being of ethnic background, there wasn't a lot of kids that I connected.
Half black, okay.
There wasn't a lot of kids
to claim the black card.
They were into basketball. They were into for real though.
He said it.
Yeah,
he said it.
Like legitimately, a lot of my friends and families, their kids were into that stuff. They weren't over here, really into SpongeBob or like Lord of the Rings or any of the geeky stuff that I'm into. So the internet was, like I said, I've always wanted to be a YouTuber. Like I was able to find that grouping and at least people I could connect with through the internet. And I think, obviously it sounds a little biased coming from, a YouTuber, but I think what I started my channel for was to be able to connect with people that kind of had similar interests and be able to have a conversation. And I think we've all kind of worked on building a community around that. Like there's people on my Discord channel that would have never met if it wasn't for the channel and them connecting, and just being able to make that hub to where there's conversations can be had that probably wouldn't be possible in their hometown.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and the whole reselling thing, like we've talked about it before, but I just feel like it's always been happening within the collecting scene. Always. There's no such thing as you buying something without someone reselling it to you. So if you have a collection, you have supported a reseller through the whole process. Someone has sold it to you unless you were stealing it. The only thing is that has changed is it's just become more normalized. That's it. We've talked about it. We don't need to talk about it more. It's just been more normalized as more people who are vocal about it. Like, hey, yeah, of course we resell. Why wouldn't you? That's weird. And it just became more normalized within the scene. And now I'm always surprised that it's still a conversation.
I think it's because people see it as like YouTubers are giving away some kind of secret sauce all the time. Like, oh, well, I was the one that was going to these stores, picking up all these items for this price. And now this guy's made a video exposing that. And now I'm mad because he's given other people the same opportunity. So I'm going to go on the internet and complain about it because he's ruined my direction, I guess, or like my lead.
Yeah,
of what I'm doing.
I agree with that. And a lot of it has to do with I hate to use the term, but I do use the term purists, like the original guys that were in this scene. Maybe they were the original OG comic book collectors or Pokemon collectors. They're very used to, well, I used to pay X amount for that. So in their head, that's what it's worth.
Yeah.
And the more like eyes get on their community, they feel it's their community, and YouTubers bring in more eyes, and then prices go up, and now they can't get it for the $1 that they used to get it for. Now they're mad that the community has been ruined.
Yep.
Yeah.
But really, it hasn't. It's just more people are into what you like, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and we're in the age of social media now. That's it. Everything, whatever you're into, and it hasn't been exposed yet, it will. We are in the age where everything is videoed now.
And I'm sure a lot of those people, those collections they had, they've grown.
I was just going to say, that's the crazy part about it, is that the people that gripe about that, it's like, well, wait a minute, don't you have a big collection of that stuff? Yeah, I do. Well, isn't that worth like 10 times more? Yeah, but
because
I'm
blah, blah,
still
blah talks
upset.
about it, and now it's worth more money.
Now it's worth more. But but now I can't go buy it for cheap like I used to. But it's worth money. Like wouldn't you be more upset if it was just worthless all of a sudden? Like nobody was into what you were into.
And he's the same guy saying that stuff, but now that his collection's grown in value, do you think you would see him go to the flea market and start selling it for the prices that he was expecting?
No,
At $1?
no.
Or is he going to charge market?
They're the first ones to go, do you know what this is worth now?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
No.
So it's this like, oh, you're only picking the side that best suits you.
Correct.
You know?
Yeah.
Not to ruffle any
We're
feathers.
going to ruffle a lot of feathers this week.
Hey, that's fine, dude. I mean,
I feel like it's balance. There's always a good balance. Reselling and collecting.
And we're
good
also
balance.
being collectors too. Like I've seen with stuff that I collect go up substantially. And do I love paying like an absurd amount of money for it? No, but I know that's just as hard as it is here, as hard as it is to hear, part of the game. You know, like that's just how it is. And you maybe have to get a little less. Maybe you have to do a little extra, heavy lifting to get the stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still there.
Yeah, and without the resellers, a lot of the resellers is where I get like my big items, like the stuff you can't find anywhere.
Yeah,
so you
and it's
need to
accessible.
work together. You know what I mean? Like trade in stuff, get stuff.
And you can only go so far. You can only go so far.
Yeah.
You can only go so far. So when you see Joe Blow posting his thing on the internet, like, oh my God, how'd you find that? Well, I found it in a barn in the back of South Carolina. It's like, well, I wasn't going to find that.
Exactly.
So thank you for finding that.
Dude,
now how much can I give you for that? You know?
And that's the point that people really can't understand is like, if you're truly a collector, some of the rarest, hardest stuff to find, like you said, it's resellers that are out there digging at 4 in the morning in the flea market through garbage bins to find this one-of-one item you've been looking 10 years for.
Yeah, or didn't even know existed.
And of course, you should have to, that's a lot. That's circumstantially to replicate that situation, it costs something.
100%.
You know?
And that kind of also brings to the point, like, remember when I sent you that Nickelodeon chair? Like, you were asleep. I was like, I can't let this slip away. I mean, I already know how California is. If it's listed for more than 30 minutes, it's gone.
Absolutely.
Especially when it's something that obscure and unique.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know, Curtis found a very rare Nickelodeon chair, probably used for the set of like Drake and Josh or something.
I actually found out they were given out to a lot of the producers of different shows. So like they each like the executive producers, like there would be like 3 to 4 on each show, and they would give them to them, so they can sit on it, on set or in their rooms or whatever. Yeah, so it's a very limited item, in-house item.
Some producer laid a nice shart in that thing.
Well, as soon as I saw it,
I didn't clean it, so
I think not even like me as thinking as like a reseller or even a collector. It was just like as soon as I knew like a place where I could find a home, I instantly sent it. And when he didn't respond, I was like, oh, I just have to take it in my own hands. And I drove like 2 hours in LA traffic just to go get it. And I was like, hopefully he'll love this, because if not, it's pretty boring.
Yeah.
With the intent to give to Marcus?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like, he's super kind. And like, that was way more generous than I ever expected. Like I was fully, like, again, circumstantial, I was fully ready to pay a fair price for it because
Dang it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
because like, circumstantially, I did sleep. I missed it, but the fact that I still have a chance
Yeah.
and it's not going in some collection where I'm never going to see it again. That's reselling, but at least it's an opportunity.
What is fair price for it? What do you think it's worth?
You want me to be honest without hurting?
You won't hurt my feelings, honestly.
Yeah, what do you think, honestly?
Yeah. Just it's a gift. I'm giving
like
it to
this.
you. I'm not always about money, so you're good. Like,
Well, I
it's good.
appreciate that, man. I think that the last one that I've seen sell, because I've been looking for it for a long time. I think the last one sold a few years ago for about 600. But I think now in the
was gonna
market
say
that it is, I think you could probably go like 1,000 to 1,200.
I was going to say
Nice.
$1,000. I was
Pretty
going to
cool.
guess 1,000.
I mean, like, I've given people things that are like pretty expensive. Like, I've even like after I felt so like really good after the SoCal Expo event that I gave you guys Nintendo certificates because I was like, dude, I'm proud of you guys. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a $600 item. I don't care. Like, I made my money on that stuff a while ago. Like,
Yeah.
let it find a home.
Yeah, if you're having like any like problems with resellers, this and that, not saying you need to change to be a reseller, but it's like, don't be afraid to like become cool with the resellers, whether you like them or not, because more often than not, again, that is their job. So just like how you work really hard at your job, they're going to work really hard when you're at your day job going to find that weird stuff. And when they do, you want to make sure that, hey, I'm cool with that guy, so I can be like, oh shoot, did I need that? How much? I'll buy it off you.
And I think it's important just in, I mean, especially like in business or anything you do in life, is just don't burn bridges if you don't have to. Being the guy who hates the resellers, you might need something that they have eventually. And if you're the guy who's been, shitting on them the whole time, you think they're going to help you? Probably not, And I think that, like, I don't know. I think it's just understanding the duality of everything.
Yeah, I think that paid off for me, like in like karma wise, is like I was one of my friends hit me up from Florida. His name's Sunshine, and he literally found a sealed Game Boy, Pokemon Blue Game Boy game, like sealed. First person he called was me.
Nice.
Yep.
Yep.
Those relationships, people.
And I instantly bought it.
Exactly, relationships. And that's something, dude, I'll cherish like always. Like, it's always going to be in my collection, and like the connection to that is worth more than like the money could ever be. So like it's just that it's in the room, and like knowing that a friend gave it to me, like it's in the background of all my shots now because it's just so sweet, and like the whole process.
That's at the end of the day, when I feel what we're actually selling a lot is just nostalgia is what it is, right? And like when people come into my store and they buy stuff, a lot of it is not just about selling this item or good. There's a memory usually attached with that. That's why that person is buying that, or they want to create a memory. And for instance, like there was a guy that was in the store the other day. I'm not always at the front of the store. This guy came in. They were wanting to film there, and he went over and we had these skateboard 1990s like. Zero? Is it zero? Zero. And it's just a trap, not a trapper, a keeper, but like a binder.
Oh yeah, I saw those at your store.
And his eyes just lit up, and he was like, "Oh my gosh!" He's like, "I had this as a kid," and I was like, "Dude, you can have it." And he was like, "It was like
That's
$15." And he was like, "No way, you don't have to give it to me." And I was like, "Dude, just have it." Like your reaction to that was like crazy, like how much you lit up by then. He's like, "Well, I had it as a kid, and I haven't seen one of these in 30 years." I'm like, "Dude, have it." And
I lit up when I saw those at your store too.
Yeah, but it was like
I didn't get offered it for free.
Even no, but even like
You gotta be like cheesing, man.
go over the top,
bro. Like I said, I've said this a zillion times. You'll go out with Ricky and Riff. They have this golden touch while they're hunting. Riff literally finds a $300 putt plush, one of the most obscure plushes. And one of our friends, friend of the channel as well, Dan, hit up Riff. He's like, "Dude, that was my favorite game." And Riff literally gave it to him for a steal,
$20. It's like literally sell for $300.
$300. Putt.
PC game.
Yeah, it's a computer game.
Little PC cartoon.
And I think that's something that, like, I mean, it's the internet, so people are always they see what they want to see, right? And they don't realize, like, not just because somebody's a reseller and you think that's like, you don't realize how many things they give away to people. Like, I give away stuff all the time, and I mean, I can speak for these guys. They're literally passing things out all the time. Like, they don't care, and like, they're just people at the end of the day. But you're also funding your hobby, your business. We all have to live, like everybody. The stuff that you're doing is not free. And I think reselling, if you completely push it out, you're missing it as a tool also to collect too.
That's the most important thing I think you said this whole time.
Do you have like maybe? I mean, like this is. We still got time on this topic, which is nice. Do you think like channels that are just flipping strictly for like you go to a garage sale and you're like, oh, this grandma's only gonna sell this for $1 and I'm about to flip it for $200. Do they think they go about it wrong?
I think going about it wrong yes, but it's what they're doing is fine. If that's what grandma wants to sell it
Yeah.
for, then that's fine. But I think there are those YouTube channels where they have this like snarkiness where it's like, oh, dude, like way to really make resellers look like horrible. Like,
Egregious, yeah.
it's an egregious behavior. Does feel like a little like, oh, dude, don't way to represent us like completely wrong.
The hardest part for me to watch when I watch some of those channels is like, you're already getting a very solid deal. Don't hit them in the nuts with a little bit more.
Yeah, they'll go lower too. They're like,
oh wait, this is $30 for this giant pile. You take 27.
this base set Charizard for $5. Can you do 2? Like,
He's like every time we're at a garage sale at our house, dude, my wife's like selling like, you know, a freaking Chanel jacket that's worth like $300, and I'm like, quarter? And my wife's like, what the frick, bro? I'm about to drop kick you. Like, get out of here.
One of my favorite bargaining tactics when I'm dealing deals with Chris is like, he'll be like, I don't know. He'll shrug his shoulders, and be like, I don't know. What do you think it's worth? That's his like perfect thing.
Don't name the price first.
I try not to ever name the price first if I can get away with it. Yeah.
It's one of my favorite lines. I don't know. Like every deal I've ever seen him do.
I mean, that is one of the best negotiating tactics. Is actually like it's well written of being dumb in the negotiating. If you actually thinking you're too smart, a lot of times comes across as not good.
Ricky's negotiation is standing there for 48 minutes and looking at it.
I just give up. Just mark it.
No, I'll be real.
I've got kids at home. Just take it, please.
Look at Marcus is like the person that'll be like, see something cool, and then instantly hype factor goes up.
Marcus?
Yes. He's like, oh my God.
That's like Gabble. I'm like, bro, chill.
I'm working on it, dude.
Ricky speed walks to stuff, and I'm like, stop doing that.
Do that.
The best tactics are these are from reading negotiating books, which I did a lot back when I used to do real estate, is showing like no interest, right? And then time is actually a big part of it. The longer you can usually like drag things out,
There you go.
like you can wear sellers down, or if you're selling, there's a whole tactic with time, right? And relationship building, of course, rapport is a big one.
One that I use a lot, and I know people might like it, is like the trying to just come out the front with them a higher number they probably expect. Give it to them there, and they're like, "Oh, really? You're willing to pay 60%? Okay, yeah, sure. I'll sell it to y'all." I'm like, "Okay, cool." Sometimes I just come like, "I'll give you this, dude," and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's do it." That happened on one of the big collections recently that we're trying to buy online. The guy was like, "What do you want to pay?" And I was like, "I'll give you 60%." And he was like, "Done." Like I know everyone else offers me 30%.
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's move on."
That's pretty bold because that's usually the hardest part in any negotiation, right? It's like getting who's going to say what first. You're always like, oh, I don't want to say too much. I don't want to say too little.
That's why I feel like if you're saying a percentage, you can't really screw yourself because you're not saying an actual number. You're just being like, whatever this ends up being worth when you put it into price charting, I'll give you 60% of that, which
it's pretty good.
Well, obviously for us, it's good. You have a store. It's completely different. Ricky and I have no overhead. You know, we get to throw it in our shed, move it on Encore the next week and be done. You know, it's a lot different. We don't pay employees. So obviously.
Yep,
it makes sense.
Depends on what's in it too.
I hate giving the price like first too. Like I've never done it. Like I wasn't trying. Like I've never not given said the first price because it was like a tactic. I was just like I hate doing that because I'm just like, oh, if I say my price, I'm thinking I don't want to lowball them, but at the same time I don't like. What if like I say 50 and he's thinking like $5? And, you know, I'm super overpaying. You know, so like I guess like if a person forces me, just go with the number you're comfortable with, a little higher than maybe what you would think is lowball, but you're still okay with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always try to get the person to tell you first because it's more comfortable.
You guys ever felt guilty like profiting off your friends that really wanted something or no?
Profiting off your friends? What do you explain?
But like I said,
what did we do to you, Curtis? What are you trying to get at? Just say it, bro.
No, I'm saying like, you know, you got an item before them, but they really wanted it, but you're like, have you ever felt guilty selling it, like, and making a little bit of money on it?
Dude, that always happens to me, but I've never done that to somebody. But I've had so many people that I've tried to get something from them and then they go and sell it to somebody else for like double, you know, and just like they didn't even talk to me. They're just like, oh yeah, well, he offered me this much.
I have a problem. I always want to give bro deals, but like, you know, like you bite your teeth. Or something.
Yeah, but I think the realities with our group is most of us are wise enough with money and have families and lives to where we end up going, yes, I really want that, but dude, just sell it and make money.
Yeah.
Like I would kill to have that, but dude, make your money. You scored, make money.
You're right.
I find it hard sometimes, not dealing with friends, but selling to friends can be difficult. Like you really wanted that Lugia first edition.
Yeah, I offered you above price.
I know you offered me like a really good price on it. And I was like, I don't know. I just didn't want to like rip you off, and I didn't want to get ripped off myself. And I I was like, I think I'm just gonna hang on to it, dude. But
it's hard. No, I get it.
Referencing this, I don't know.
Totally.
No,
Get waxed is pretty much our answer. Like,
Get waxed, dude,
I think it's understanding where your friends are coming from too, in their perspective. Like for example, Chris, he had I filmed in my video when you picked up that SpongeBob TV.
Yeah,
and it was like still mint in the box. I was like, in my mind, I'm like, should I give him an offer for it? But I'm like, I'm not going to give him as much as he can make. And he's got a business to run. I'm just going to, just like, I'm just not even going to put my hat out there because it's like he can make the money on and that's better.
Yeah, he made it on Blake. Don't worry.
I
made it back.
I would have been fine if you did make an offer. I probably would have declined anything unless you were like $1,000, which would have been absurd.
Yeah.
But because I had just found it, so there's like the exhilaration of just finding it. I have a tough time parting with something right away when I'm like, I just got
What are they worth?
Probably 400, I want to say.
Did Blake buy it from you?
What's that?
Did Blake buy it from you?
No, Blake and I coin flipped.
That was the best coin flip.
You never see those
I bought it for
in
like
mint
100.
like that. I
got
have the
it for
TV, but you'd never see it in the box.
What
like
would you have
that.
offered him?
I probably would have said like 300, something like that, which isn't like, he
not
could.
bad.
That's pretty good. No tax.
Yeah,
like
no
no worry about
tax, Chris.
shipping.
I know. I also
No
was
shipping?
planning on.
All wax,
No,
no
I'm
shipping?
going to keep it for the new store location. I
Yeah,
wanted to
exactly.
set
But it
up.
was like, he'd already found it. It was just like fresh. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even gonna. It's like understanding your friends. Like, if it's something that they're willing to give to you, like, don't be the one like, oh yeah, you want to give this to me? You want to give me a good price on this?
I
But
don't know.
like,
I've literally gone up to Ricky, like, hey, bro, I like that shirt. How much off your back? He's like, oh, I guess I'm selling you my jacket.
Yeah, and you also will sell stuff right away. Like there's been many times you've found something at the flea market. I'm like, dude, I really would buy that off you. Like all those beat 'em and eat 'ems that you
Yeah,
found.
all the Atari porn games.
Yeah.
All the Goodwill stuff I found in Baja at dinner. I was like, hey, I don't do that good on disc-based stuff. You want to buy them off me for your store for cheap? You're like, okay, maybe.
Yeah. And like the beat 'em and eat 'ems, like you had found it like literally 10 seconds later. I'm like, I'll buy all those. And you're like, yeah, sure. No problem.
And I like quadrupled up.
Yeah.
All right.
Hell
All right.
yeah.
We're
Being
gonna
honest.
We're moving on to the next one. We're gonna be ranking cartoons.
Yeah, getting my comfort colors on.
yeah.
It's kind of the reason why we had it. I mean, he's going to be the expert on a lot of the stuff that is newer, and you guys are experts on the oldest
I
stuff.
tried to mix it up, Curtis, with the choices. I didn't do like only stuff that Marcus would like, or only. I tried to find that fine.
Dude, I'll be honest. AI made this whole thing for me.
I
so.
did it.
No, I meant like
dare
earlier.
you.
I meant earlier. AI made my whole list earlier.
I was
so.
gonna say, dude, like you sent me that. I was like, dude, this sounds like I'm talking to Chat GDP.
Yeah, you should. Dude, it's my new friend, okay? All right.
Only one.
All right. We're going to go on to our first one. It's going to be, let me,
You know how these
Where's
work, right?
regular show on
actually,
here?
give me a number. Give me a number.
Regular show,
Yeah,
yeah.
no
That's-
regular
regular
show's
show's not in there.
Regular show.
That's S tier.
Okay, what do you,
Adventure
what number do you
Time?
want? 1 through 10.
1 through
You guys are-
10.
you guys are
Let's
worse than
do
dumb
let's do
comments.
10.
Ranking cartoons. There's only 9 million on Earth. You didn't pick the one I like, dude.
That's a personal attack on me.
All right. The first one is Powerpuff Girls from Cartoon
You can start.
Network.
I would say Powerpuff Girls, for their influence, I would say that they are, I think as a show they're B, but I think influence, they're like second tier is probably the mascot of Cartoon Networks. I would say
Okay.
Dude,
I'm actually going to say A also because it's probably the only one of like, it sounds sexist, only one of the shows I've ever watched with like an all-female lead cast of like this type, obviously not all-female lead, but like this type of cartoon where I like loved every episode and was super about it. So
Yeah.
for me, A.
Yeah, a little bit of
love Powerpuff
little
Girls.
little girl
Chris,
empowerment.
I'm going to go C on it. I never really watched it too much. I've seen
Chris,
it a
Chris
little
hates
bit.
women to just speak. Make it clear. No, I'm just kidding, no.
Maybe because it was, all girls.
Yeah, I
I don't
get
know. C
Didn't
for me.
click.
Yeah, it just didn't click. C.
the Rogues Gallery on that show. Fantastic.
Yep.
What was yours?
A.
A. Okay.
I loved that show.
All right. Ricky, how about you, dude?
I'm gonna B. I like the show. I really like the show, but it wasn't A or S tier to me, but it was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, I liked watching it as a kid. The favorite one of them was Bubbles. So,
Bubbles.
yeah, literally just had this like that
We
genuine.
find Powerpuff Girls stuff quite a bit too at flea
That's
market.
what I was gonna say, like merchandise wise. That's why I said they're kind of like one of the
Hard
big.
to find too.
But like compared to other Cartoon Network shows, it's a lot easier.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. So next one we're gonna go with
Not
is
that low. What'd you
that
give it?
low?
Dang, he went.
no.
CD.
Guys, I haven't finished it. Jeez
Okay.
Louise.
I was
It was like an A/B.
Guys, I have to do it while you guys are talking.
Curtis.
I mean, got a contract with
Hang out
Mojo
with your friend Chat
Jojo.
GPT, dude.
Dude, chill out.
What is this show?
Lion-O.
Just kidding. Thundercats, huh?
Thunder.
Thundercats. Oh man.
Thundercats. Ho.
So this, if you watch it, as we were saying earlier, it has such a slow movement of storytelling.
Yeah.
I respect it for what it is. Like, I totally do. Don't get me wrong. I even gave it a rewatch pretty recently. It still lands at a solid B-ish for me. Even with the recent rewatch. It's cool, but the storytelling was a little too slow for my ADD brain.
I don't know, man. I think the animation was so epic and all these like little sword fight. Ah, dude, I'm a full A with this bad boy.
Curtis with an A on an
I didn't
80s
expect that.
cartoon. Whoa.
Bro, I actually love Thundercats. I love it.
I think what it is about Thundercats is like, for me, I guess I'm thinking, because I didn't watch a lot of it, I'm going off of like influence. Like, I feel like it's like, you know, you see people driving around with Transformers bumper stickers, you see He-Man stuff, but like, it seems like he's like, Thundercats is like a little lower tier than like the big ones.
Is that the Thanos glove?
The Infinity Gauntlet. I think his hand's just like really white, like for some reason in that spot. Oh, you're right. I think that is like the left hand.
I think he's I think he's just missing a glove on that one. Let's be real. Like, that's a mean tan line.
He's got a tan line.
The glove doesn't
How about you,
fit.
Christo, the older one of the group?
I'm going to put this S tier. Growing up, I absolutely loved Thundercats. It's one of my favorites. I'll be honest, though, I have not watched it in forever. Like, I'd be curious to, like, if I went back and watched it, how much it would hold up today. But between this and He-Man, which is He-Man even on this list?
No, because we did it before.
Okay. So like these two I put in the same category. Like as a kid, I was constantly like, give me more He-Man, give me more Thundercats. Maybe G.I. Joe too.
Give you
but-
more men. Yep. We know.
Boys.
Blow his back out over here.
I absolutely just loved it. It was just so badass. It was freaking awesome.
Good.
I think like growing up with it, like his opinion should have a little heavier weight than
Like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, than mine. Like I'm gonna go with like B tier, but it's just because I don't really have any affinity for it.
Ricky?
I mean, I have to say it like Chris. I don't remember, like, if I watched it again, I don't know if I'd like it as much, but back in the day, this is a solid A for me. It was so good.
I feel like, too, my rating would have been higher, too, if I didn't rewatch it. But it was still good. Don't get me wrong. It was just the scenes they drag slower. The dialogue moves along a lot slower than I'm used to.
I kind of, like 80s cartoons in general, I feel like are kind of all like that.
Yep.
Like even He-Man is like that. Transformers is a little bit like
Yeah,
that.
Transformers is a lot like
Yeah.
Surprise us, Kurto. What you got next?
Darkwing Duck.
Let's get dangerous. Watched the crap out of it back in the day. I'm still gonna put it at B though. It wasn't one that I was as nuts about especially within like the Disney afternoon collection. You know, we've already done this before with different cartoons, and we did DuckTales and Chippendales. Those were S's all day.
Yeah.
I feel like of them, this wasn't one of my favorites, but I still liked it.
I think B's a safe ranking for me too. Like I think like for me, when I think about that era, Darkwing Duck is one of the most memorable. I don't know if it's the way he carried himself, but like it's one of the characters that comes to mind the first when I think about that generation. I'll go with the high B, like a B plus.
Only say B.
The only B. That's all. I can't be doing math over here, dude.
I'm going to keep it at a B, dude. It's great. I like it a lot, but if I compare it to like Tailspin or something like that, I love Tailspin. This was great, but it wasn't, if I had to pick like from the Disney era, this was not as high as the others.
Yeah. And it's like, I would think it would have been cooler because he's almost like the Batman of the afternoon collection.
Yeah, but
Dude, that actually puts it like literally where it should be.
You
like the
know?
Batman kind of just like, that fits it right in there.
Yeah.
Like, solid B all the way around.
Yeah.
I thought he was pretty good.
He was cool.
I
He was
love
cool.
his toys. The toys for him are
I'm going to
That's
give
what
it
I was just gonna say. Like his
bit.
toys and the gadgets.
great.
Expensive.
I'm going to give him an A. I feel like he's due a little bit more.
Dang,
So
Chris is going
I
to
was
get
pretty-
dangerous.
Yeah, getting dangerous. It was a really good show. I actually did enjoy it a lot.
These games are good too, except not the TurboGrafx 16 version sucks. NES version's great.
All right, next one is going to be Smurfs.
Wow, really
Oh,
cool.
S tier. Like,
Yeah.
but I'd say A or S tier. I mean, man, Smurfs, dude, like that show is like a vibe in itself. It's so simplistic. It's the definition of a comfort cartoon.
You sit down, you just kind of aimlessly watch it for hours
Wasn't
on
there
end.
like controversy about them? Like supposedly or something.
Bro, there's controversy about everything.
With every animation, there's gonna be something. I mean, you have it on.
Look at the
so
way
long.
that Papa Smurf's eyeballing her. You know, that's kind of, I don't know, a little sus there. You know, there's a controversy in anything you look
I
for.
like shows like this because every single one of these can fit somebody's personality, right? Each character can find a
Like
way.
the Seven Dwarfs type of thing.
Yeah. Like somebody's gonna be grumpy or somebody's gonna be sleepy. You know, like those type
Ricky.
of vibes.
Ooh, I am sleepy all the time.
Like that. I mean, it literally is like an A tier.
Like, I think I love shows when the stakes aren't so high, you know, like a lot of like the rescue shows, like Darkwing. It's like, oh, wow, he's gonna destroy the whole city. You know, he's like, but this like, oh, Gargamel's poisoning the water, or like, you know, like something really like simple.
He's gonna boil us.
Ricky, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't enjoy it as much as this was more my aunt's thing. So she'd always constantly have in the background. I did not like it as much, so I'm gonna put this at a C.
Okay.
I'm sorry, guys.
Dude.
Chris, did you go?
No, I'm probably going to go even lower. I might go D.
Yo.
That's where I was going to go.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Marcus.
Hey.
I was D also.
You're
It
also
just
D.
didn't do it for me. I remember being a kid and just being like, oh, not Smurfs again. Like, I was like,
It's too campy.
I know. I was just like, like I would struggle through it. I feel
See, they're
like.
freaking.
Like I would
you
do it.
say you're 90s, but you're total 80s kids. Just not enough explosions.
Yeah, it was like maybe because I was so into action things at that time, and like this was on
See?
probably when like He-Man and Thundercats were on, and I would be like, "Let's go Thundercats, He-Man," and then I'd be like, Smurfs, man, what the heck? And I'm like, it felt like a letdown. I think when it came on, it wasn't bad, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to go D. That's my little
Yeah, me too.
8-year-old boy self saying that.
Yo. All right. Up next we have Rugrats.
Dang.
By the way, what is that image? I've never realized
That's
until
the
now.
intro, dude.
No, but I'm saying, look at that. If you actually look at
Move
the
your
shape
head,
of that
Curtis.
with his...
It's his bottle.
I know.
Bro,
Just
I don't think you do. I think you're looking for something.
Yeah, he's looking for something. It looks like a money shot.
I have watched a million documentaries about cartoon animation, and 90% of the time, artists are putting something in there as a little like...
That one is sus, dude.
That one-
Look at
Oh man, that could be a whole nother episode about
a
like
little bit, Curtis.
hidden imagery.
That is super.
That's pretty.
sus,
That's
dude.
pretty on the dot.
Why do I have to move
Like,
it?
you know, if you're an artist,
Now, Curtis, put your head back.
think
Open
of
your
you
mouth.
drawing that. Like you know what you're doing when you're drawing that.
I don't know what kind of penis. I'm just gonna say it. What has that weird central like small?
Okay, Marcus, we get it. We get it. You're half black. You're just like 10 inches, dude.
That's a very obscure one. I think you're reaching. I think you guys are reaching.
I don't know.
I'm gonna say what a great show. A for sure. One of the best intros, animation style, just what iconic show to the core.
Yeah, if
A.
we're sticking with original Rugrats and nothing like Grown Ups and all that stuff, Rugrats was the show for me. Like,
That's
I mean,
good.
like it just had everything. Like, I mean, like I actually like Chucky more than I like Tommy.
Yeah.
I think I'll speak for like Rugrats all grown up because I'm sure most of you guys haven't probably seen Rugrats all grown up.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, like it really I think develops the characters even further, and you kind of get to like really understand them. I mean, you got to get into it, but I would say if you include Rugrats if it was without Rugrats all grown up, I would give it A. But with that included, I'm giving it S tier.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Like you fall in love with the
Love to hear
characters.
that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go S tier on this as well, and especially because like this was like when did Rugrats come out? 95,
91.
91. Okay, so
Early
I was still a
90s.
kid when this came out. I don't know. I absolutely loved it. It's such a really good show. Angelica is just freaking awesome. Like maybe you're right. Maybe it was like the character development in this, because it's not like I mean, there's action, but it's like just a bunch of little babies. It's I don't know. It's phenomenal. For whatever they did
so
with
good.
it, it's
And I think that
freaking
you
good.
develop in
That's all I can
life
say.
too. Like when you're a kid, you kind of relate to the kids, and as you get older, you kind of relate to the parents
We
a
talked
little
about
bit.
that recently about even like TV shows. Like how now I watch and I'm like,
I think-
I'm the adult. No.
Yeah. Those are some of the best shows though, because you're like, oh, like it reaches your like if your parents can watch it and you can, that's a win-win for everybody in the house.
100%.
Yeah.
Ricky, what's your rating?
This close to an S, but I think I'm gonna keep it at an A, just because it's a great show, dude. I can't deny about it. Chucky's awesome, like Curtis said, but I love the movie how they put like Chucky's mom. Finally, you understand what happened to Chucky's mom. I was like,
Oh yeah, that's a
really?
heart. You know,
I was like, dude.
Cartoons do that, man.
Oh, and
Where
I'm
you're just like, when you're
like, oh,
least
dang.
expecting it, you're just like, frick, dude, and it hits, and you're like, am I crying at a cartoon? Yes, I am.
yeah, and I'd say like of the stuff that they do, Klasky Supo, the company that does them, like that's like the other shows don't have something that like just world shaking when you're a kid. Like they're all pretty simple, but they went in on Rugrats for a lot of those emotional scenes.
Winnie the Pooh.
Oh wow. Anybody?
Man, I'll start. I almost want to give it an S tier, but I'll give it. It's an A plus for me. I absolutely love Winnie the Pooh. I have always been a Winnie the Pooh fan. I feel like it's one of the most wholesome stories. And the characters in that, whether it's Tigger or Winnie the Pooh or Christopher Robin or Piglet, like they are such awesome characters and they just go on like such cool little adventures.
Yeah.
Even Eeyore is such an awesome, like how many
love
sad
the lazy characters.
Me, though, that you
All right, I'm
would
giving
give
it an S tier. I'm
you give
giving it
that an S tier, but all the same qualities you named were in Smurfs.
Smurfs. Yeah.
No, it doesn't even compare.
No way.
For me, I think I think it's a little bit slow sometimes. I do love some of the films, but I think like the actual TV series they had is a little slow, but I loved the books growing up. The books were really good. I would say overall, it's definitely, I wouldn't give it S tier. I think aesthetically, it's really awesome. The characters are fantastic. I'll go A.
Yeah, I'm with Chris. I almost want to put it at S also. I have such an affinity for I think I don't know what it is. It's like unbelievably wholesome.
So
I think
wholesome.
Winnie the Pooh's voice, I've said it before, I think is one of the best voices we've ever had.
Jim Cummings.
It's just such a good, like you hear it and you feel like, it's so like heartwarming. Like I feel like you want to give Jim Cummings a hug in real life. Like he's just an old man, like, and that like little everything.
Wait, who was it?
Why do you want to live in her life?
I'm gonna go A. What a great makes me feel good every time I watch it.
I'm gonna sit before you go, Rick. I'm just gonna say one other thing about Winnie the Pooh too. Like when I was a kid, I had my favorite stuffed animal that I still have to this day. Actually, is a little bear, and that bear has so much life to me. Like
So you're Christopher Robin.
Yeah, I related to Christopher Robin. Like my stuffed animals when I was a kid, like to me they were alive.
Yeah.
Like they were real, and like my that stuffed animal is still in my son's room, and every once in a while his name is Snowball, and every once in a while I'll be like, oh hey Snowball, what's up? And I look at his eyes and they look real to me. I'm like, you're still here. Yeah,
You're
like I know, but I've always kind of like felt like Christopher Robin poured love into these animals, and like if you love that stuffed animal or that toy that much,
you and your wife getting it on, you like turn him the other way. Like, no, Snowball.
He's in the other room, dude. I don't keep him in my room for that reason.
Snowball's too pure for this.
Shut your eyes, Snowball.
But I've always related to that, so that's another reason why
Ricky,
I love
what do you think? He's gonna lower it. I know it.
Don't you dare F this. Don't you dare. I just went all heartfelt.
I know.
He's gonna be the contrarian. He's gonna go the lowest.
I love Winnie the Pooh, but if I had to watch the show like over and over again, I'm not gonna put it anywhere near like an A or an S. I love the show. Maybe once or twice, like I'll watch it. But if you're gonna tell me like, I'm basing them on something I'll constantly watch.
Ricky, but he needs honey for his tummy.
That's true. I do love that, dude. He always made me want to eat honey. I was like, damn, that looks so.
You're trying to
good.
convince him so bad as he's trying to.
But he's going
bring us down
to B, just a B.
Okay.
Just a B.
That's not as harsh as I was expecting.
No.
Winnie Pooh always brings
What'd
you
you give
back.
it, Marcus? B?
I give it an A.
Yeah, you give it a.
Yeah, it's still I think the top right now.
I think what connects me to Winnie the Pooh is like when I was in second grade, I had a teacher that like gave us out like when we did stuff that was excellent. She'd give us out Pooh bucks.
Oh, it's
right?
awesome.
And we would, Pooh bucks.
Got some good poo money.
Yeah, dude. And at the end of the year, you would have, she would bring in, like, she would have Winnie the Poohs all over the classroom, just everything related, like Piglet and all them. And, like, at the end of the year, you'd go and take all your poo bucks and literally buy off whatever she would bring in.
Oh, that was the best, dude. Those, like, classroom currencies.
Yeah.
And so, like, that memory alone brought me to the show. It was like, that's an A for
My
me,
kids get that at church. They get, like, church bucks, or they
Heck
call it.
yeah.
I'm like, heck yeah, dude.
Up next, we are going to do Dexter's Laboratory.
Where did Winnie the Pooh end up?
It's a A.
A.
Yeah.
Below Rugrats?
2.0.
2.0?
It's yeah. Let me it's actually below Rugrats. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
About
sorry,
it.
guys.
Dexter's Laboratory for me is a solid B.
I was gonna say I think it's controversial because like everybody that likes Dexter, I feel like it gets like glazed so much. It's like such a good show. Like it's
a great
fantastic.
show.
Okay, well,
Ricky's about to glaze it.
I think it's really good. But I mean, if you compare it to like the biggest Cartoon Network shows, I think it's a little overhyped, a little bit.
Okay.
I would say Dee Dee drives me crazy. I guess it did Dexter too, but I mean, like, man, her character just bugs me sometimes, like irritates me. I'm gonna go with C.
Okay.
Dang, that low? Really, Marcus? I'm surprised because it does.
You guys
get
are not
glazed
cooking up in the
a lot,
laboratory.
This one does get glazed a lot. For me, it was not one of my favorite cartoons either. Was it kind of snarky-ish, maybe a little bit?
Yeah, a little.
Kind of snarky.
I mean, he was kind of like just like a really smart nerd that kind of played into it.
Yeah, and it was very like fast. I don't know. What was that girl's name? What's her name?
Dee Dee.
Dee Dee.
The annoying sister.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the show that was called? It was inside the show. It was like the superheroes.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That was almost better to me than the
What's
show
that called? Let me look
itself.
that up.
It's like Pinky and the Brain. I like Pinky and the Brain better than Animaniacs.
Within the
The Animaniac. I actually like Pinky and Brain more than Animaniac.
Oh yeah, because Pinky and
I'll
the
figure it
Brain
out.
they got their own show
did the
eventually, but
birds.
they
Yeah.
were within
Oh, the
that.
birds. Yeah, the birds are good.
Like their own little spin-off.
I'm gonna go C as well. Yeah.
Dang, man, you guys are hitting it where I would hit it too.
So a lot of people are going to disagree with that one, and I know it.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like like you said, it wasn't like as polarizing as some of the other Cartoon Network shows that were already on.
Yeah.
At the time, you know. So I don't know, Ricky. Did you ever end up watching it ever?
The Justice
What?
Friends.
Justice Friends. There you go. Justice Friends was tight. That was sweet. It was like a little play on the Justice
Sorry.
League.
Had
No,
to-
you're good. I'm just gonna rank mine
I
as
was
C.
B. Okay,
You're
you're
B.
C. Where was Ricky?
Yeah, I was just going to give it a B.
Okay.
I love it, but I'm not.
I put it on because I was like, what would Marcus like? Oh, I bet he's going to be obsessed with Dexter's Lab. So I put it on there.
I'm surprised. I feel like that would be like
Your
being a
generation.
Nickelodeon person. You
Well,
would,
there's
like, love
almost
that.
every other show around that I do love. That's why I think that was such a good era to put that one up there with those top ones. It's just not that.
Oh, it's way down there, Curtis.
Huh? It's 3.
It might be below.
It's right.
It's below Smurfs.
Oh, it's right here. Yeah.
It's like, well, not that. It was a B,
No,
B, and CC.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I got
interrupted.
I got it
and
right
go
here.
below the Smurfs.
I know. It's at 3.6. All right, next one is Disney Classics.
Yeah, so I
Mickey
basically
Mouse.
put that one there as basically, I forgot what, I think it's called Bendy Horse animation. This is like the early 1920s, 1930s cartoons that would come on. Just
That's
kinda
a tough one to rank though, because it's like you're not like it's like wow, this is a thing. Like you did this, like that you accomplished this. So you almost want to give it credit for what it is and the era that it lived in. But if you're watching it as like an actual show, like how high can you go?
Well, I have a different set. I actually, so when I was a kid, being poor kids, a big thing we used to do is we would go to Walmart or like Big Lots, and there'd be big bins of old VHS tapes, and my parents would always grab. There wasn't ever a name; it was just cartoon classics.
Oh, those
And it was
compilation
like
ones.
The Betty Boops, the Field,
Casper.
the Casper,
Yeah.
the old
Yep.
bendy animations. Pippi, no, not Pippi Longstocking. Lulu. There was a girl named Little Lulu.
Popeye.
Yeah,
Little Lulu.
Oh,
was-
yeah.
What were the crows?
Superman.
Jekyll and Jekyll?
Underdog
Heckle
was
and
a good
Jekyll?
one.
Jekyll.
Me,
Heckle and
And
Jekyll,
it
the
was,
crows.
I think that style of animation is called Bendy Horse, and it's just that it's kind of what Cuphead, was inspired by.
Yeah.
And I have like a weird affinity. Like I love those cartoons. The other day I was with my buddy Andy Ricky, and we just watched them for like 2 hours.
Popeye-
Genuinely enjoyed them.
Popeye is in
Popeye
this
would've been a good
category
one,
too.
yeah.
I put Popeye in
Yeah, I
this.
think Popeye's a little bit like I think because I'm thinking about like I guess like the short little snippet ones they had for Disney. I think Popeye has a better narrative overall too. Like
Narrative for sure.
Yeah.
I still, for me, these are S. But
Yeah.
because I literally, not just like of what they did, right? It's not like the Super Mario for Nintendo. It's not about what it did to me. Like I genuinely enjoy them. Like I
Gotcha.
will watch and I'm just enthralled with the animation and how they did it and the sound effects. And
It's a lot of it's just a whole different level of
Yeah.
what we're dealing with nowadays. Out of respect, I'm gonna give it A.
okay,
Would you say S?
S.
Dang.
I saw like even like back in the day with like the first, Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie's first sound ever in animation. I mean, they literally had to play it live and give orchestras like cues, like do this, do that, and give them timestamps to know when they would draw the animations and put music notes next to it to know like hit it now because it had to be recorded live with it.
Well, they did that up to like all the way up until like Dumbo. They were still doing that.
and that's
yeah.
how they started. It was on these old Mickey Mouse.
Well, I'll
and-
have to go back and kind of watch some of that. It kind of gives you that like Charlie.
you want to watch a good movie
Charlie
that connects to
Chaplin-esque.
that is
Yeah.
watch The Reluctant Dragon by Disney. It's a whole movie done by Walt Disney, like where they explain the whole animation process from the beginning.
so awesome.
Yeah.
Dang.
And I didn't know Snow White was like, took them like 4 or 5 years just to animate that thing.
I guess
Back then.
if I were to rate it, since it is like a timeless thing and it didn't really need much to it, it's an A.
Yeah.
Right? You can't hate on it. It all spawned from it, right?
Yep.
I love it too. I love that whole genre. That animation style is just freaking awesome.
So cool.
I have not gone back and watched it in a long time.
Check them out,
I
honestly.
know, and I have some of the VHS. I should just pop them in because it is just timeless, and it does kind of hold up. Like when you put them
It
on.
does. That's what I'm saying. When you watch it, you're almost like, I'm enthralled.
Yeah,
I'm
like
enthralled
even if
with
it
this.
is like black and white like that, like it's there's something about the art style does hold up.
Very minimal audio or none.
Yeah,
very minimal auto sound effects. Like
Some quick rankings soon.
Let's give it an S, just because it's so.
Dang.
when Curtis said quick rankings, that means
foundation.
from here on out we got to rank quicker because we're only going time for the segment.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Does the beanstalk one count as this?
Not if it's not if it's the color one.
That's pretty late, yeah.
Okay. So I'll give it an A.
Ricky went with like a 1995.
He's basically off this one
Hey,
movie.
That's the same thing, right?
I was like, if it was the beanstalk one, it's an S.
Ricky and the Beanstalk was
I
a
think
great
that one
episode.
That's why I was like,
tops.
It's up there because it's a whole generation of cartoons.
It's
not
kind of
just
hard. I
one.
couldn't put like Steamboat Willie in just one.
A little bit of hell yeah.
All right, we'll go quicker. I
All
promise.
right,
let's go.
SpongeBob.
S.
S.
I mean,
Okay,
that's-
I'm so glad
Wait.
everybody's in this
Yes.
room.
Everybody just said all S.
Yeah, it's S.
Let's go. I don't think we've
can
had
still
a.
like everybody here.
Yeah, how could you not S this? It's-
Dude, so me and Ricky, our
There's no
quick one.
critique.
Our history is that we used to go to our friend Brittany's house and we'd skate a half pipe and eat Flamin' Hot Cheetos and every like 30 minutes just go and watch SpongeBob. And it was like such a core memory for me.
Yep.
Like it was just such a part.
So I say a modern day, the closest thing, the only thing rivaling Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, I think is modern day SpongeBob.
I was going to say, since we're on it and we all S'd it so quick, is it the greatest cartoon of all time?
No.
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah?
think so.
I
Yeah,
think
I mean,
so.
dude, you're gonna tell me that a cartoon that
Simpsons?
can actually make the Super Bowl is not like timeless?
No,
It's referenced
great.
every 3 seconds on the internet, like
I'd-
at any given time.
My
You look
other
that up?
fight would be
Yeah.
my
No
other
doubt.
fight would be Simpsons for me with it. But I'm not arguing that it's not.
But the thing is,
top three
Simpsons is
rotator.
designed at its core for an older audience, maybe even breaching on adults.
Totally.
Whereas a cartoon, by its nature, is made for like that core demographic of kids, but it transcends that.
Yeah. But when I grew up with Simpsons,
Bars.
It was started off.
I grew up with it. I'm allowed to talk about it. Simpsons, the thing is, though, it was geared towards
was.
adults, but every kid in the schoolyard when we were young was sneaking it. Always.
That's true.
Not allowed to watch Simpsons, but it made it that much more alluring for kids.
That's the question. What's yellow people? What's yellow person?
Yeah, we got him on board. All right, here we go. Next up, we got Captain Planet.
Friggin' man, that's a DEI crew if I've ever seen one. I haven't watched it in forever. By the way, my God, I never realized how good Captain Planet's hair is. That is amazing.
That's what I'm trying to
Look at those cheekbones. You're talking about his hair.
God, handsome Squidward right there.
The man is just a god. He's just.
I'm gonna go B. I used to love that show, but I haven't returned to it, so it means I'm probably not as obsessed with it as I thought. But I did used to truly love that show. B.
I don't want to go too long on it, but have you guys heard the theory about those are the same kids from
Yes.
Magic School Bus?
Yes.
They grew up and they
Yes.
became them.
Whoa! Wait, Magic School Bus would have been killer on this. That's crazy.
All the
They
kids
look like
the
them.
same.
They do
Did you hear
look
about
like them.
Macaulay Culkin in Home Alone being Jigsaw from Saw because he was a mastermind at traps? That
Dude,
was
I
the whole
love
episode.
those theories. Like, you know, whether they're real
I
or
love
not, it's so
spin-offs,
Also,
funny.
Jar Jar is a Sith Lord.
Dude, that one's
it.
crazy
All right, keep
too.
going, keep going.
All right, I'm gonna rank it a B.
I'm gonna go A. I actually really love this
good.
show. I used to watch this.
I'm glad
a
it's getting some
ton.
more love here.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm gonna give it a D.
Dang.
Damn, man. Ricky
Sorry,
is
guys.
like the Simon
just-
Cowell of like cartoons
Just
here.
pollute the
Ricky
earth.
didn't like that DEI crew.
Ricky's
much.
like, I'm giving it a D. He just throws his McDonald's trash out the window.
Marcus,
I don't give a hoot.
Marcus, how about you?
I'm gonna go with. I just think it's got one of the most unique like premises of a show, and I think it's just what it stands for. Whether everybody has got a debate about what it means and how they did it or whatever.
Yeah.
I think at its core, it's definitely earned B.
Especially when you're a kid, though. Back then, like you're a kid, you don't realize you're being taught something.
Yeah.
You're like,
According
oh,
to Captain
sweet.
Planet, we're underwater right now.
What?
We only have 30 years before we're full of water.
You lied to us.
Well, that was because everybody did their part.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Captain Planet saved the planet.
We did our part, dude. He taught us.
All right, last one that we're gonna do is Recess.
S.
S tier, man, you're going all the way to
I
S.
love Recess. I
I-
love it with a passion.
I think Recess is fantastic. I'll go with A. I don't know if it's up there with SpongeBob levels, but it's really good.
Yeah, that's definitely A.
I'm not gonna lie, I never watched this.
Okay.
Never seen it.
It's great.
I've never even heard of it.
I've never even heard of it. Ben and I.
We did it on the surprise. You're like, I never heard of it.
Oh, did I say the same thing? Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what this
Ricky,
is.
what do you think on this one?
Oh, that's an S.
Surprise! I don't know
Ricky
what it
says
is.
S.
Yeah, all right.
Dang.
We used to watch it together.
Great show.
That's a really good show. Like the way they've set up like playground culture as a whole. Like
That's kind of, it felt like every episode is basically like the playground. Recess time is like some massive, what you did as a kid. Everything's a big
Phineas and
adventure, or, you know.
Sheesh.
Nah, we don't need to rank that one. We could. Phineas and Ferb real quick. Right across the board.
A.
S.
man, I feel like we're giving everything A, but I'm gonna go with A too.
Well, these are good shows.
Yeah, I just
think
like that was
it's
such a standard ranking.
They
For,
all
Talk about Larry the Platypus.
They can't all be Smurfs, dude. F tier.
Well, I guess we're gonna do what starts on the bottom, and then we're gonna go what started with ended on the top. We're gonna say Dexter's Laboratory got the garbage ranking, and then on the top
Dang.
S tier SpongeBob across the board.
Might get heat for
That's
that
true.
Dexter's Laboratory. There's a lot of Dexter fans out there.
I think as we put the Smurfs above it, that might be where we, catch some heat.
Yeah.
Like Smurfs.
Even Darkwing Duck is
All right, Ben, can you switch up?
debatable.
Captain Planet over
Thank
there.
you, sir.
No, it's all good. I'm glad at the bendy animation stuff being up there too. I'm honestly probably gonna watch some of that tonight.
All right,
But-
let's switch it on to something.
What you got for us, Curtis? Curtis has got the wheel of topics. Wheel of topics. Turn,
Yeah.
turn.
All right, so one of the things I wanted to talk about was kind of the lost media, like rabbit hole kind of debate, like not debate or anything like that, but more as in like, something that you guys have found recently, almost like a Mega Man 3 screw or 3.
Mega Man prototype, right?
Yeah.
There.
Kind of explain like is there a new hype behind finding lost media?
I don't know if I would call it a hype, but I feel like anytime lost media is found, it creates its own hype, right?
Yeah.
Because the word itself, lost, right? It's lost. We don't know it's coming. So technically there can't be hype for it.
Yeah.
It's almost like when the Shrek animations dropped of like, oh my gosh, look, they dropped what the Shrek was going to look like before. Oh my gosh, they dropped the sketch drawings of Chris Farley with the audio, right? It's like when it drops, that's when the hype, I feel like it builds. Like with us with the Mega Man 3 prototype we found. We didn't know. There was no hype around that lost media because nobody was talking about it. But then we find it and now there's hype. Mega Man people are like, ooh, what's happening? Show us this. Dump the ROM. Let's see which by the way, we're dumping the ROM after this with Ben. But
You think that dumping the ROM and then maybe obviously if you're not keeping it, that actually kind of negates the value of the cart that you're going to be
I
getting
think
rid
that
of?
there is some validity to that because there's actually for Nickelodeon there's a pretty much like non-existent. Well, there is somebody who has it out there, but there was a movie that they aired for the Rugrats movie. It was the Cat Dog had like a little bonus movie right before the Rugrats played. It was called Fetch, and that is like the original airing, like pilot, I guess you would say, of Cat Dog for the Cat Dog series. If I didn't mention that.
Insane, right? That's
Yes. So there's only snippets of it that are like available anywhere. I actually own a small snippet of the film reel because somebody took it off of the original Rugrats film reel. Yeah. But it was a separate cartridge, I guess. There was like the last end of it had like a little bit of like the Cat Dog movie. But there's a whole cartridge that has the full short film on it. And it just recently auctioned for I think like $2,000. But I just think it's not many people know about it. I think as you said, lost media, there's not really until people start knowing about it, it's like who's looking for it, right?
yeah.
But I think now if it went again, it would probably go up for a lot more because you can't find it anywhere online.
Yeah. Is there a certain hype when you find something and you're like looking everywhere and you can't find anything online about it? Like, do you guys just like get all like, how do you feel about it? Like, let's
Yeah,
go ahead.
Blake and I, we do a lot of media. So we do a lot of VHS, even cassettes. We'll find a lot of like cassettes that are released that were only for like bands that were only released like when they were out demoing, right? Like when they were playing like early on. So they might have tracks that are on there that weren't released.
Yeah.
VHS is a lot of like all sorts of stuff we find with that, right? Might be for movies and stuff, but we do get hyped when we find it. I, in fact, started like a YouTube channel. It does not have a lot of views on it, but we will digitize and rip a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, but I think you guys keep it, a lot of it though, too, right? Like I know Blake has those like fan-made Spider-Man movies like still in his garage that probably no one has any recording.
Blake likes to collect a lot of that stuff. Some of it I'll be like, dang, this thing is so cool.
I think that there is some value in I think people do pay, like the guy who bought the Fetch one, like I think he's never going to put it up there because I think there is some value and people want that exclusivity of like, oh, I'm the only one that can listen to
That's
this.
what I was gonna
which
say.
kind of sucks, but it's kind of, you know, but
So that's what I was going to say. By us dumping the Mega Man 3 ROM, making it public, is that like doing us somewhat of a like, obviously it's good for the community.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think
but
it's a
does it give
service.
some sort of disservice to like, oh, well, now everyone can just kind of play it versus like, we're the only ones who have access to this?
It might devalue it.
Yeah, what I fear what would happen is what people are really good at is replicas. Like replicating that same cartridge. I mean, most prototypes just have an old piece of tape on it and just say the name and then can somehow figure out how to
but
make
I
the
think
board.
for your... Sorry. I think for your... Should I keep going?
Yeah.
I think... I thought you
No,
were going to
actually,
the bathroom or something.
hey, you're gonna need to stop. Riff got up. We gotta restart.
Those are emergency. Are we okay?
I'm gonna crap my pants!
He's crapping.
But I think like how many people could say like if they do start emulating it, you guys will always have like, I think that's more valuable than that is being able to say that like you're tied to all of those emulations that come down the line, that you were the ones that sourced it, got it up online, the heroes that brought it to everybody. You get to become heroes, and I think that for your brand and your personalities, that's more valuable than hoarding it to
Being
yourself.
like, we're the only ones who know the difference. There's differences, but we're not going to tell you what they are.
That's crazy, dude.
I know. I feel like a schoolroom. Like, okay, pass it around. You get it.
I've seen it.
Okay. Yeah,
Wow,
he
Chris,
said
dude.
pass it around. I was like, all right. He was
What about
Well, like I said, I feel like it could not just devalue it, but somebody could just go out there and replicate it
Well,
and then
hold
make
on.
it harder.
Yeah, that's what I was going to mention. So as far as the replication, yeah, it's somebody could easily replicate it and throw it onto a generic PCB to be able to play in a real NES. But who cares? I mean, that's just a replica.
Well, no,
it's
but
obviously not going to be able to make it look like the original motherboard.
Like, do reprint comics sell for the same prices as the original, or does it lower the value of the original? Not usually.
Yeah, I mean,
True.
So as far as like
lot.
what to do with the ROM once we do dump it, like I have to say, I feel like it should be given to the community.
Yeah. I'm not trying to sell it.
Because what if nobody dumped the Nintendo World Championship cart, and we would not be able to play it? Well, I guess until last year, right, when Nintendo made it available.
Something like that. Yeah.
But like, I feel like that would be a crime if that wasn't playable before last year.
Yep.
That's just my.
You were going to say something a second ago.
Oh yeah, not only that, we also have I have a game I bought. It's
Oh yeah.
talk
this is a
about
big one.
media. It's a Street Hero for the NES. I thought it was a Master System game. Nowhere near what I thought it was. It's different developer and everything. Can't find anything online. So if you guys find something online, let us know.
Yeah, that's a weird one. So he found a game called Street Hero, which is a prototype for the NES. So when he first found it, I'm like, hey, we couldn't get it to work. So I'm like, hey, let's just go on YouTube, see if someone dumped a ROM of Street Heroes. We found a game called Street Heroes on the NES, and I was like, oh, this is it. Someone had gameplay of it. I'm like, sweet, someone else has the prototype too, and dumped the ROM. And we just assumed that for like a year and a half. Yeah. Just the other day, Ricky comes over, and I'm like, hey, let's really try to clean that again. We took it apart, which, by the way, had some really
crazy.
weird hard. It took us like an hour to open it, literally. Got it open. I hate to admit it. We had to use a magic eraser on the pins. We couldn't get it to work. We got it to work and boot up, and I was like, this isn't that game that was online, Street Heroes.
Yeah.
We went down the Google wormhole, dude. Every board, every Reddit, every forum, everything. There is no Street Hero on the NES of what Ricky has with the gameplay, with the company. It's a finished game. There is nothing. There is nothing nowhere. And I'm like, that is as far as I know, not the entire world has ever talked about it, one of one Nintendo game. And that's the definition of extreme
Bizarro,
lost
yeah.
media.
yeah. I mean, that's kind
Does
of
the cart look like it's something that was like a final product?
So-
Looks like that.
So
crazy
yeah, that
thing is,
definitely
like-
adds to it.
Like on the NES cart, you know how it's usually like square,
Like a square?
Mm-hmm. This thing rounds. It's like it's different. We're
Oh, so
like-
it's odd in every way too.
It's
I'm
odd
thinking
in
it has
every
like
way.
a perfectly slapped on trademark label. Maybe not.
Dude,
But
we opened. It's got tape like holding the boards together. We're
And
like,
normally
what
there's
is
one
this?
board, but there's two boards stacked into each other, shoved into each other with like a tape on it.
Okay,
And we've
wow.
never seen anything like it ever.
I think that adds to it.
Yeah.
I feel like when we are out hunting, because we come across so much media, whether it's games or CDs or VHS, like when we find lost media, I feel like it's almost like like a service to the world, or to the, you know, to bring that stuff to light, because a lot of it would just end up in the trash. Like that might be gone for forever, that game. There was like, I think we talked about it a while back. There was an estate sale where we found a bunch of, like, Steve Bjork was a developer for the Tandy and the Coco computer, and he had all these games, and they were literally, Blake and I went back to this estate sale on the last day, an hour before it was set to end, and they were out by the dump. They were ready to take all these floppy disks and throw them out, and we ended up selling them at auction because we didn't know the value, and they sold for like $5,000, I think. But those guys, I don't know what they ended up doing with it, but I'm sure they ended up finding games and all sorts of stuff that was like on there. That's why they paid so much for it, was because that almost was gone for forever. Yeah. Right. So I was like, dang, we did like kind of a good thing, you know, finding that and like saving it for the world. Huge thing.
I think as fans of the community or whatever you're doing, I think, bringing it to people as as that service is the best thing you can do. And it whether it's valuable or not, or hurts the value on it or anything, I think it's just the important thing to do, because that's what you're into, right? So 100%. You want to add to that.
Some type of like revitalization. But, like, do you think that also, not just talking about, like, lost media and that being physical, like, also kind of spawning it to the Nintendo Switch, it seems like they're going to be going more focused digitally going forward. Do you think?
I hate it, yeah.
Nintendo Switch, well, they're doing carts, though, right?
Yeah, they are, but, like, people are complaining that the carts are priced high.
What, is digital cheaper?
I think it's like $10.
Yeah. I don't think $10 cheaper is worth it, in my opinion.
I agree.
That's not much of a difference to me.
You can't resell it.
Yeah, you can't trade it in. The game store, like,
it was like $30 cheaper, $40 even, maybe, but I feel like $10 cheaper.
Yeah.
Does Switch have that currently, where you can download any of their games on the Nintendo store?
But it's the same price right now.
It's the same price?
Yeah.
You can do that with
they have an online
full
store.
library?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless they take it off the store and then you can only buy physical. It's kind of reason.
I don't know who were to do that other than like compare every single game.
I just asked because I've never even done that. I've only ever bought physical Switch games. So
in comparison to Nintendo, I mean, PS4 has done it with Godzilla. There's a reason why Godzilla is a $200+ game, right? They took it off of their store, and so the only way to play it is physical, right?
Yep.
I never knew what. That's why that game is so expensive.
Well, think about what happens with Nintendo when they start to go focus more so on the digital side, and there's a game that gets controversial. The Guy game is one of those things that just became controversial.
The Guy game, yep. Which I literally just found for $2 at Goodwill.
It's an expensive game.
I mean, we saw that happen with a lot of the stuff on the Xbox 360 shop that just you can't. There's nowhere to play it. So I think, all the stuff, like the same thing with the 3DS shop, all that stuff's going to be. I mean, I don't know. Is it possible for anything to be lost media anymore, though? Or is there a way somebody's ripped it in some way to where it's still usable?
More than likely.
I feel like it's just going to end up in one of the other consoles, since Xbox isn't going to do anything. They're just going to sell it to Switch. Like, let's revamp it.
But what if they don't? You know, I mean, some of the stuff that just didn't do well, you know, like
and it just dies.
I guess I don't know like enough about like how the process works of like getting a game, these modern games onto like a computer and then emulating like a PS2 game. You know, you can play every PS2 game through an emulator now. So like, are some of those marketplace games, are those digital only games accessible in that same way? Because like a lot of the lost media now is like, because back then we didn't have the internet, you know, so people weren't recording. Like, I don't think any show that's been on any streaming platform can be lost media anymore, because somebody out there
for sure
has recorded it,
and probably a decent amount of people.
Yeah,
it is weird though, the things from like our generation that, like, you know, much younger, where you look at it and you're like, man, I don't remember what it was. There was something not that long ago where I went to go watch it, and I'm like, to my son, I'm like, oh, you got to watch this show, it was so funny, and I was like,
there's no way
you can't watch it
unless you find like somebody who has an old cassette tape or VHS tape.
It like hurt my brain. I'm like, we're in the modern age. It's everywhere. And I'm like, I'll pay. Nothing. I don't remember what it was, but I remember I was freaking out. I was like, I cannot watch this. There is no way to watch it anywhere in the world.
The only way that you were able to get things back in the day was their archiving methods, in which most studios used to do is, oh, this show's done, throw it into storage.
Yeah, or trash. A lot of Nickelodeon, a lot of their stuff, they just threw it out.
So actually, for the most part, like when it comes to like animation cells or Disney, they like employees were told to destroy anything that came to them. And so when it does leak out, that's why they're so expensive. SpongeBob is the same way,
and that's why you had people outside of Disney's offices in their trash can digging for animation cells.
Smart
and
people.
Making big money off of that stuff down the line. I mean, at the time they probably sold it for like $30, $40, but they would have, you know.
Do you think that the pricing for physical media going up even know that it's kind of been the same over time. But do you think people's complaints are, you know, kind of bogus?
It's funny. My retro life. It's funny. Actually, good. I almost am like, dang, Tyler, you put out the video too early. He did a video like a week before the Switch 2 was announced, when everybody was talking about prices, and it was him talking about game prices. And he's like, no, guys, he's like, game prices are cheap. He was showing like he pulled up like every old ad, not just Canada.
Yep.
And he's like, games were this, consoles were this, Neo Geos were this is what it was. Panasonic 3DO, I think his family paid like thousands of dollars for. He's like, media has always had, you know, if anything, he's like, think of everything in the world that exists around us. Prices have all gone up. Housing.
That's what I was
clothes,
saying. Chris is like,
food, everything.
Yeah.
But games were pretty much like this.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not, and this isn't me arguing for Switch, saying raise the prices. I'm not that person. I'm just saying it is interesting. It's like the only thing that stabilized. And they're like, no, we probably are due for an increase.
Bro, I'll be really honest. I'm a huge advocate of buying stuff after the hype.
yeah,
Like,
oh, yeah,
for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, my parents never had like that much money to buy it, and like, so we never bought anything new. We had rental stores to go test it out, or we just waited for like a GameStop, or because that was my store as a kid, was GameStop. Go buy it used. Don't buy it brand new.
Still to this day, I've never bought a brand new console. Ever.
wow.
Everything we've gotten has always, when we were kids, it was always used. As far as I can remember, always used. And even now, when I go to buy stuff, I always wait for the hype.
Even the NES.
Ben's just smirking over there because he buys 40 of every new console
everything.
and puts them in storage.
Yeah, he
Just
buys.
20.
I'll always just wait
That's
a little
hilarious.
bit. Like the PS5 was out for like probably a
Yeah.
year before. I was like, all right,
bought
I'll get my
mine off Gabo.
PS5. Yeah, I was like, all right, now it's $300 or $350. Okay, I'll get it now.
As dealing with like game customers, did you anticipate the backlash of the Switch being the games being slightly more? Like just dealing with customers.
Most recently?
Yeah.
Not yet. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit on here, and we don't sell new games, so
Okay,
it won't.
gotcha.
Like, we will wait till those get traded in.
Traded in, yeah.
Will it? But so if it's an $80, are they saying they're going to be $80 brand new? Is that what they're saying
Something
right
like
now?
that.
Yeah.
So that means the used market is when they first get traded in. Depending on the game, it's probably going to end up being like 65, right? So that's going to be kind of
Which is
different.
better, though.
Yeah, it'll be a savings, right, from brand new, but that's still going to look pretty high on my shelves. I've never had. Obviously, we have games worth more than $65, but they're not brand new games.
I
Like,
remember
that's
Gabo was buying PlayStation 5 games, and a few of them were $80 back in the day too. I was like,
what
why
I
was
was
nobody
gonna-
talking about that?
I think the thing is like how much were PlayStation 2 games when they first dropped, like back in the day?
Expensive.
Like 50, 60 bucks.
They're $60
Yeah.
though.
That's what I'm
50,
saying. Like
60.
GameCube was
But
the
that
same way.
20
it's
years
a
ago.
wonder
Yeah.
that they. I mean, it's a wonder that they haven't gone up earlier.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like nobody wants to pay
and
more
this
money
is me
for
arguing
anything.
for
But
wanting to pay more.
No.
I don't.
yeah,
And-
exactly.
I still remember going to Bradley's in the 80s with my dad. Bradley's and buying Atari games for like $40-$50 back then.
Yeah, and that's for Atari games.
It was an
The
Atari
80s,
game.
yeah.
Just-
He's so mad about it. That was the worst investment.
it was always the worst investment. I always felt let down, and I'd be like, "What the heck? This is what we got."
Put it this way. Put it in like the '90s view. Like back in the day, the Super Nintendo games were $60, right? That's back when you can get like a soda, like a liter soda for like 80 cents.
Turok, $74.99 for 64. Doom 64, $74.99. Wayne Gretzky
So when you
3D
put it like
hockey.
that, like how much does a liter of cola cost now? Like $3.
And that was a lot more money back
So
then.
just multiply it like that.
Literally.
Like 3 times 60 is what it should
What
cost
would that
now.
be today? Like 110.
Yeah.
Right. I
Well,
know.
so-
Something
maybe not to that
astronomical.
extent.
Yeah,
You know what I
so
mean?
like,
Yeah.
you've always been paying that. It's just they've kept the price, and I
So
would rather.
basically, it's a mystery why games have not gone up.
Exactly.
It's a mystery, but also like, why is the public perception so surprised?
I think because there's a bunch of babies that play video games. That's
Well,
why.
we are in the age of right.
Dang.
No, let's say we are in the age of social media, right? I say this about a lot of things. Like, the reason you don't hear a lot of things back in the day is because there was nowhere to say it. You grumble inside of your own house and
Very
go,
true,
"That's
very
expensive." But now everyone that goes, "That's expensive," instead of doing that, they go,
Amplified.
"That's expensive."
And then I think we live in an enabling culture too. Like, I mean, obviously, we remember the Sonic whole situation with the animation looking terrible. It did, but people complained about it enough that they actually changed it. So maybe people are thinking, oh, if we just complain enough times,
The prices will go down.
they're going to drop it because they won't do that to us. You
Maybe
know?
that's why they do complain about it.
actually.
They're like, "Oh, this game sucks," and they're just like, "We're gonna get it for $40 in 2 months."
But I would rather all day they sell me the game at 80 and it's a full game rather than sell me it for 60 and give me half a game and I have to buy DLC, another DLC, a bunch of
They're still gonna get you for
microtransactions.
Dude,
both.
I'll be honest,
But if it's a little less-
bro. I'll be honest. Call of Duty dropped Verdansk back into Call of Duty, the map that I like remember playing with my buddies for hours. I instantly bought every single pack that I could that actually benefited playing Warzone.
I think you're right. There
Pay
is
to
a
win, baby.
good part of the, I bet you obviously these developers, when they're like setting their prices and they're having their discussions, are like, man, how are people going to react? How are people going to react? And I think that has kept like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo in check for a long time. But I think it finally like boiled over where Nintendo was just like, screw you guys. We have like the best IP. You're going to buy this. Here you
Nintendo
go.
especially.
And Nintendo's like, this is what it's
I'd say
costing
if
us.
anybody's doing it, at least it's Nintendo because at least for the most part, they're like the Mickey Mouse, right? They're pretty universally like accepted and loved by the majority. And I've want to reiterate, no, we're not like championing for like raise the prices.
Yeah, exactly.
But I will say there are certain games too, though, that like I know that a lot of games nowadays do take more people to work on. I think the biggest crazy thing, the new Assassin's Creed game. Did you guys see how long the end screen, the credits were?
No.
2 hours and 16 minutes.
Insane.
They just had to prove a point. They're like, just put the janitor, like everybody. The guy that came in here for the light bulb.
Real.
It's not. No way.
Real. A guy
rolls for
Yeah, a guy from, named Craig from.
A lot of hands in it, man.
Oh my gosh, I feel bad. I forget his name.
How slow was it scrolling though?
Either way,
Jake Johnson
Right.
brought us coffee.
either way.
Let's count the names. and
one of
let's
my-
get a quantity.
Bro, one of my
covered.
favorite end screens will still be Guitar Hero when you're playing that long song and it's a dragon song. It's just doo-doo-doo, and you just see you're playing through it at the end.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. You never
I
seen
mean,
it?
I think we talked about this last in the podcast, but I was like, I would pay $500 for Tears of the Kingdom. Like,
Okay.
I really would.
Wow.
I get so much out of that game.
Think
I
about
know that sounds crazy, but I feel like I got $500 worth of value.
Game
That's
store
true,
owner
but-
is delusional.
But you got to think about it like this too.
Title.
I would think about it like this too. But we buy the games even for Nintendo right now, right? How many of the expansion packs do you buy for everything, like the Mario Kart, all that stuff? The amiibos. The amiibos are, if you think about it, it's almost like a little gimme. I bought a ton of the Zelda ones just so I can play Breath of the Wild and get all that extra stuff.
Yep.
So it all adds up. In the end, you're like, dang, I'm close to 80. Well, actually, with the amiibos, it's like even more. And the expansion packs, it's even more.
I've spent more money on free-to-play games than I have on regular games.
Yes, thank you. yeah.
Paladins, I probably spent $700.
How they get you.
I had to get off Clash of Clans. That thing was deadly. Ugh.
What the argument
So
we were making
expensive.
before is like when you weren't here on the last podcast was basically like think of a game like for me like Super Mario World. Like if I think about the amount of hours I've played for that, it's not that I would pay it, but say I was paying $10 an hour. I'm probably thousands of dollars that I should be spending on that game because it has given me years of playing.
Yeah, and I think that's like again, like I think nobody wants the prices to go up for no
Yeah.
reason, but I think of all the things in the world that are going up, that's not the hardest pill to swallow.
Well, I will say I was like kind of like chuckling when people were complaining. I was like, bro, these people don't complain for the past 10 years when the entire economy is like, psh, can't afford groceries, rent, food, and then we're like,
My
oh, the
video
Switch
games.
game went up like $10.
But you know,
Dang it.
one thing I don't know who is talking about this, but it's setting precedents. So Nintendo is
Yeah,
going
now
to set precedents.
Sony and Microsoft
yeah, they're
will
like,
follow.
Absolutely.
Sony had to do it first.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. They were all hesitant to do it, but I feel like Nintendo was the one that could do it.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because they
Yes.
were like, you guys, listen, the product we're giving you guys,
It's so
is
unique, right? You
good
can't get Mario
and so
anywhere else.
unique.
Sony then probably slipped them some money like, hey, listen, we'll give you guys a cool mill. You
Don't
guys
you
break
think
Oh,
they
you
talk
know
about
those
that?
guys were like, $80. Yeah.
parties, dude.
Don't you
Go
think
on.
It was
don't
their
you think
moon
they all
landing.
collaborate? I would not doubt.
I don't
that.
know about that.
Well, think about this. I mean,
It's like the
I don't know.
how many copies of a game does a
could
big
be
game
right.
sell?
I don't really know. I mean, all I know is the one that's going to sell the most is Grand Theft Auto for sure.
Well, let's just
sure.
say Grand Theft Auto. Let's say any game. You say when we could put it as into example as
Like 100
Expo
million
owners,
copies.
right? You raise the price by $10 and you get so many sales. That money can equal a lot. So when you're a video game company, you're selling 20 million. I don't know if that's the number times 10 extra bucks
10
each time.
extra dollars
Yeah.
is
I mean,
How many
you are-
copies
probably
of Mario
100
Kart
million.
sold?
Yeah.
Oh
Was it
gosh.
20 million? Was it 30 million?
What is it, Mario Kart 8?
And you're talking across all their games now. You're talking like hundreds and
many
hundreds of millions.
copies
Of
of
dollars.
Mario
And
Kart
you
8
got the
Deluxe
growth of
sold?
just like new games where it's like, they just, like I said, buy a skin. Those microtransactions add up too. You buy one for $5, a million people buy it for $5. It just.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think Nintendo puts out an amazing product.
half
I'm
a
happy
billion,
to
right?
support their
It's a $500
product.
million.
Half a
$1
billion dollars is what extra they would have
Extra
made
they're
by
gonna get.
Mario Kart Racing for $10.
That's
That's
just
a lot of
$10.
That's a lot of dough.
Billion.
Yeah.
Half a billion.
Hey, what about? Do you guys think the indie developers
That's
will
good
still
math.
keep that same price, like
Is
$40?
it the Mr. Krabs
Oh, yeah,
drool
yeah.
coming in?
That's just Nintendo, right?
Independent developers are sure going to still
They're still stick to that little
make their
little-
mark, and still independent games can go huge and become the biggest. I mean, Rocket League was a throwaway game almost that nobody knew about, and then PlayStation decided to put it on PlayStation Plus, and they're like, oh, no one really plays it. Let's put it on PlayStation Plus. It was
Such
free,
a good game.
and then it became bigger than almost like a Minecraft. You know,
True. All right, guys, you guys got to quit complaining about your game prices. Go check out my boy Marcus over at Comfort Cartoons and ADH World. His channels will be linked in the description. All the episodes are linked in the description. I updated
we're
them.
charging $10 per episode to watch now.
Hey,
Don't complain
big
about
Thank
it.
you to you guys for having me here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Now, we appreciate your time as always, man.
an
And
honor.
guys, SoCal Gaming Expo is coming up. Please
Retro World Expo
get
as
your
well.
tickets.
Yeah,
Yep.
Retro World too.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No vested interest. No, I'm just kidding. Retro World Expo. Please go to the East Coast.
I know. They might even come.
Yeah. All right.
Blue